Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Reap the Spoils. I'm Mark Sullivan.
I'm Delilah Lugo.
And I'm Jason Kwasnicki.
Delilah, what are we talking about today?
Dispatch.
Dispatch.
Very excited.
We're not talking about Dat Patch, we're talking about Dispatch?
Yeah, I don't know what Dat Patch is.
Dis and Dat,
Need
this
a
and that.
need a
Oh,
poop
got
emoji
it.
sound.
Man,
Got it.
let me tell you, jokes work so much better when you have to explain them. They're just so much better.
Yeah.
Reap the Spoils is a semi-monthly spoiler cast where we usually play a video game, or sometimes we'll watch a television show or a movie related to video games, and then we'll come here and then we'll spoil the thing. We will talk about the story, we will talk about the gameplay if there is some to talk about. In this case, it's kind of an interesting situation because it feels like we're talking about both a video game and a television show, with how Dispatch is kind of, how it exists, what it is as a form of entertainment. So that'll be interesting.
Kind of the next step in the Telltale model.
I don't think we've talked about a game like this since Tales of the Borderlands. Is that what it's
Wow,
called?
get out of here.
Which was like really really early Reap the Spoils. We're talking
didn't-
I
like
thought we did the Game of Thrones ones too.
no.
No, that game's too trash
we
to do.
No, yeah. The only Telltale games that I played were the first two seasons of Walking Dead, um, The Wolf Among Us, and Tales from the Borderlands.
What about the
I mean,
Batman
yeah,
one?
Nah, I never did those.
It was okay.
I don't know, when they started getting like all these different IP. I mean, we could talk a little bit about that, but once they started getting all these IPs and stuff, I kind of just was like, I don't care. Like this is a whole lot, and we can maybe bring it up a little bit in the history info block, but like it's largely what led to Telltale's downfall in a lot of ways. But
Yeah.
but yeah, we haven't talked about a game like this since Tales from the Borderlands, but this time we're talking about Dispatch, not made by Telltale Games though. So I mean, I'll also just say, with what Reap the Spoils is, because I didn't finish my whole, usual spiel about this show. If you haven't played or watched the thing we're talking about, in this case, if you haven't played, I guess, or watched Dispatch, I highly suggest you pause this episode and go and play and or watch Dispatch, and then come here and listen to us talk about it. I would say, like, this is a very watchable game. Which is why I keep saying play or watch, but I do think it's worth playing, because watching someone make decisions on their behalf and just like kind of watching that happen, it doesn't really hold a candle to you making the decisions yourself, because that's kind of the bread and butter of this kind of game, of this genre of game, is making narrative choices that actually direct the story and where it goes. So yeah, if you haven't played it or I guess watched it, pause this episode, go do it, and then come back and listen to us, because we'll get into it.
Yeah,
We'll
I
get into it.
recommend playing it and then watching other people make decisions. I actually held off on watching people make decisions just to hear what you guys made first.
Yeah, we'll talk about it shortly. So are you guys ready for the info block?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. So Dispatch, it was developed by Ad Hoc Studio, which was formed in 2018 by a lot of former Telltale developers. If you don't know what happened with Telltale, what I was alluding to before, it basically just like overnight fell apart. I believe it was literally an overnight closure where Telltale was, and then it wasn't, and a lot of employees just were informed, they didn't know it was going to happen. It just kind of crumbled. And there's a lot of potential reasons for that. I think the main thing a lot of people will call out to is like Telltale's release cadence was really poor. But they were announcing, development on a ton of different games all at once, typically with big IPs. Jason and Delilah both mentioned a couple, other than the ones that I called out as things that I had played. But like they developed, I think, two Batman games. They developed a Game of Thrones series. They developed a Guardians of the Galaxy series, Minecraft, all these different like IPs that they were basically just gathering to make things for. And that became a problem when for a single series they'd release an episode once every like 6 to 12 months for each game. It started to become really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember them
And
With
also
getting
like,
the
past
engine
one
was
episode of the Game of Thrones. Yeah.
oh no, they finished out Game of Thrones, but I don't remember
Did
what the
they?
release
Oh,
cadence
I
was
must I
like.
must not have
Yeah.
just played it because the first one was so bad. Yeah. Okay.
But I remember like because I feel like everyone played Walking Dead season 1 like back in 2012 when that came out, and it was really good, Jason.
yeah, I loved it.
And there was a
No, my
reason.
hot take is that Walking Dead overall everything sucks.
Oh, the
Well,
Past the first
comics are so
season,
good.
past the first
well,
season of the television show.
well, yeah, we're not talking about the television show. We're talking about the Telltale series,
I'm
which is
saying
very different.
everything Walking Dead. I
Oh,
hold I scorn.
you hold your Kwasnicky hot take. Yeah,
It's a
okay.
hot take. Yeah, I know it's a hot take.
I mean, I don't really hold much love for The Walking Dead as an IP, but the first season of the Telltale series was extremely good. And I remember playing the second season and playing an episode of that, and then having to wait like months and months and months for the next episode to come out. Um, and it was not a good experience for, an episodic release. It was, imagine watching a television show today and having to wait an unknown amount of time and it being delayed and released and stuff. And that was episode per episode. Like that was the Telltale experience throughout the 2010s.
Yeah, I was
Um,
about to say that's kind of like every next season of every show nowadays is
well,
if
true.
at first it's 2 years, then it's three, then it's four. Or in the
Yeah.
case of whatever the fuck just finished, Stranger Things, decade.
Oh, yeah, well, that one don't really don't really mourn that one, honestly. But anyway, um so Telltale, yeah, just kind of fell apart overnight and for, a myriad of reasons, not the least of all which I just described. But yeah, Ad Hoc Studio formed, and also Telltale as a studio identity got purchased and revived, but it's not really the same from what I understand. They're making a Walking Dead, or not Walking Dead, The Wolf Among Us season 2, which Ad Hoc was actually originally developing, and they parted ways due to creative differences. Um, that game was announced in like 2019 and still isn't out yet, and I've kind of given up hope that it ever will.
Yeah,
Um,
Wolf Among Us was like their crown jewel, if I remember correctly, right?
You could argue, well, I mean, I think The Walking Dead is probably their most critically acclaimed season
It is.
of video gaming, but I feel like a lot of people, I would call out Wolf Among Us as my favorite. Tales from the Borderlands is also really well regarded, and I think for good reason. Go listen to our episode on that. Um, but yeah, The Wolf Among Us 2 supposedly still in the works. Ad Hoc was working on it. They no longer are. They instead pivoted to Dispatch. This thing, which was originally planned to be a live action thing.
Would have
It
been
was
good.
yeah, it was inspired by the ESPN commercials. This is Sports Center. I'm not really familiar with those, but like think that the whole idea was to. I mean, the whole idea was what we got basically. It was just meant to be live action, and then they pivoted to animation, which I think was a great choice. And we'll get into that. But yeah, development was going along, but they were self-publishing and trying to get funding for the game for the studio, and there were a lot of issues funding this game. There were a lot of issues with the financials. They announced this game at the Game Awards 2024. I think if you listen to our episode on the Game Awards 2024, I want to say I called it out as something. Maybe Delilah did. I can't remember, but we did talk about it being interested and excited about it in that episode. But it came out I guess more recently with the game being out that like that was kind of a desperate bid for funding.
Hmm.
Like they paid for stage presence and announced the game at the Game Awards, and immediately started trying to schmooze with publishers or somebody to fund the rest of development because they were really struggling. Um,
Man, I'm
and
surprised Jeff Keighley didn't insist on putting them out there. He really knows how to pick them, doesn't he?
we're not getting into that. Um, but the savior here was Critical Role, the D&D podcasting and slash video production house. Critical Role came in to work with them. They decided on a partnership where Ad Hoc is going to develop a Critical Role a Critical Role universe thing for that IP. But they also assisted in funding the rest of the development for Dispatch, which was really great. And it also features several of the voice cast, I think, from Critical Role, like Matt Mercer, Travis Willingham, Liam O'Brien. I think they're all Critical Role people. I don't really watch Critical
I'm sure
Role, so.
Alana Pierce will snake her way in again.
Well, she snuck her way into this game, so.
No, I know that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, Critical, and I think there's more to come within Dispatch. I think like a tabletop RPG or tabletop thing, I think, and like merchandise and stuff. Critical Role has basically helped fund the rest of this game and then some. So which is great. It's really great that they were able to find funding and get this thing out the door, because it definitely stood out to me when it was announced.
Yeah, it is. It
So
is
yeah,
interesting how all these like smaller, not quite indie, but double A devs are kind of funding all these new ways. Between Larry and self funding and oh my God, Expedition 33 Clear Obscure. I can't remember the name of for I having a brain fart. Sorry, whatever. Point is, all these like mid-sized devs finding all these unique ways to fund. It is the future.
So yeah, finishing this out, the game released episodically, but it released in 2 episode chunks over the course of 4 weeks, starting from October 22nd and finishing November 12th, 2025 for the PlayStation 5 and PC. And the Switch release is very recently in the news, just came out on January 28th, 2026. And we'll talk about that later.
Sure.
I think our discussion of the game will help inform the kind of controversy surrounding the Switch release. So, yeah, this is your final warning. If you haven't played Dispatch, you haven't watched Dispatch, if you're pretty unfamiliar with Dispatch, I highly recommend you pause this episode and go and play or watch it, and then come back and listen to us spoil it and talk about it. Final spoiler warning.
Yeah, not very long. Can be finished in a couple afternoons.
Yeah, I think Katie and I played through it in, I think, 3 sessions. The first session we did 4 episodes in one go because we were just hooked. I like to open this by just talking like top level like feelings on the game. Can I start?
Hell yeah, bro. Go ahead.
Go for
For
it.
once, I'm gonna start this section and I'm gonna say retroactively, Dispatch is my 2025 game of the year.
Wow, look at that.
Like,
Interessante.
I wish I had played this on release. This would have had me like I already was going through it at the end of last year with Pluribus. Jason, have you watched Pluribus? Probably not, because I don't think you have
No,
Apple.
I don't have Apple TV. No.
Oh my
And
God. Okay. I was already like waiting week after week for the next Pluribus episode. If I was playing this at the same time, like this would have definitely had me like anxiously anticipating the next episode drop.
Mhm.
I loved this. I loved this so much, and yeah, retroactively, it's my favorite thing that came out last year.
What was initially your favorite game last year?
I mean, Claire Obscure. That was
Yeah.
my, but like that was just like yeah, I really enjoyed that game, and I had a lot of criticisms of it, but like I still really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than any other new thing that came out that I played that came out last year. But it's not like I played a ton of things that came out last year. And I actually played like a couple other 2025 games that I kind of missed recently, and yeah, Dispatch blew me away. I
Nice.
really, really loved this.
Yeah, Oh, sorry, go
Go ahead.
ahead. Finish
No, go
your
ahead. Go
thought.
ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, to piggyback off of that, I actually think that Dispatch had the second best narrative after Expedition 33. So I think that's a really strong like point, because narratively I thought Expedition 33 was fantastic. So for it to be so close, and I liked it more than like Death Stranding's narrative and some of the other
Yeah.
more narrative focused games that came out. Animation wise, it reminded me a lot of I don't know if you guys have seen Invincible. Very graphic, and
Yes.
for like a previously like Telltale, developers coming in to have like an engine that the animation looks like this, it's just so pleasing, because it was every single thing was just so good to the eyes, especially on an OLED screen. It was like seeing all the colors pop, especially during the action scenes. The facial animations, like just the subtle movements, that demonstrated so much emotion in the characters without them even saying anything, was fantastic. I just thought like narratively this game was so strong, which is good, a good like thing to say for a game that's narrative focused, right? Like I'm not obviously we're not going to like go too much into like gameplay, because the gameplay here is very it's
Well,
choice based, and then there's like sections that where you do like dispatching, which was my least favorite part of the game, because that's not why I played the game, but I didn't think it
I
was
fucking
bad by
well,
love
any
that part
means.
of the game.
I think we'll probably talk about it. Maybe Jason and I will talk about it. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, overall, like I think narratively it's extremely strong, and I feel like a lot of these people, had the Game Awards situation been different, would have been great nominations for best voice actors.
Jason?
Okay. Yeah, no, so yeah, I'm not of the mind of Mark where I think that this comes anywhere close to throwing Claire Obscure, but I'm very much glad that I got
It's
around to
it's
playing
personal.
this.
It's personal,
Yeah,
I like
I can tell this is very much your style of thing, from the 80s synthwave to a lot of the character. Like I knew you would be jiving with this when I started playing, why you were so excited about it when I started playing it. It's very much up your alley. And I totally agree that on the whole the writing is very good. I have bugaboos, I have stylistic criticisms, but structurally, I mean, it's two basic story archetypes mixed together. The strange attractor, which makes something that feels fresh and new. Lila mentioned the art style representing Invincible, or being akin
and
to
like
the television
yeah, yeah.
show Invincible. Um, I agree, and I think that's probably intentional on their part, to evoke that similarity. Um, at the end, it left me wanting more, which is always a good thing. And I knew what the twists were going to be. Generally, I was thrown off the scent onto the wrong characters. We'll get into it in detail later,
I
but
think
when
I
a game
was
does that,
too.
when a game does that, I can always appreciate it. So the writing is good. I would not say our obscure level is good, but it was good.
Well,
Um,
look, I don't want to like sit here and like, scrutinize like my comment. Like it's a personal thing, right? Like I don't really judge games on whether or not I think they're objectively better than one another, but like for me, for my personal game of the year, like I enjoyed this thoroughly for a lot of reasons, and I have fewer complaints about this than I do about a game that's like four times longer than this, and that's ultimately what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
Um, and we also I don't want to spend too much time litigating, comparing this to really any other game that came out last year, just because I'm
sure,
saying
sure.
it's retroactively my game of the year. I'd say if you want to hear my specific thoughts and all of our specific thoughts about like Claire Obscure, Death Stranding 2, any other game that came out last year that we covered, like go listen to those episodes. Um, it's not my comment at the top of this isn't trying to say that I think this is better than Claire Obscure. It's just to
It's
say
just your
that
game of the year.
I'm just trying to say how much I really, really loved this game.
yeah,
Sure.
no,
That's
that's
what I'm
fair.
trying to
And
get at. And it's
I
like,
have
and I don't
in the future,
I
if we
don't mean
play
to
another
spark.
game that came out last year that like I think, beat this out, then I'll probably bring that up. And I don't want to like do a direct comparison because like there's no point. They're two completely different
Yeah,
experiences.
yeah.
yeah, definitely.
I,
I didn't mean to spark that conversation. I just wanted to
No, I
give you
know.
a
I
frame
know.
of reference vis-a-vis where you started at the top. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted to make one more top of level comment that I forgot to mention,
Okay,
which
yeah, yeah.
is that I feel like with a industry where superhero fatigue is so apparent, it's kind of nice to have a game around superheroes that's like amazing and it's funny and it's not James Gunn, which I feel like is such an
Yeah.
amazing feat to achieve and very difficult, and they nailed it absolutely.
I mean,
And by
Also, Mark,
James
you
Gunn,
need to see.
you mean his fifth copy of Guardians of the Galaxy?
And Mark, later when we talk about choices, I kind of need to know who Katie's best girl is too, not just yours.
oh, I mean, we made decisions together, so
Oh, got it.
I would say that our choice is like, it's the same. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, if you want, I can text her on the side just to make sure. Like, hey, all right, keep me honest here, but who was your romance choice by the end for sure? Would you have picked differently?
Right, yeah.
But I
I'd be
think
curious to know that.
it's also hard with how this game concludes, and depending on how this game concludes, that could really color that answer to that question.
Yeah.
Like, do
Yeah,
you regret going this direction? Would you have preferred to go this direction? But we're gonna talk about that because I think the smartest way to do this would be to go episode by episode. That's kind of how I set up the notes, episode by episode, with the core like decisions made that would kind of impact the narrative, so we can kind of talk through our choices and talk through why we made those choices, and the story, like, crafted around that idea.
yeah.
um I feel like I had another comment to make, and I completely forget what I was gonna say, so I think, well, let's you guys ready to just get into the discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Sure, let's go.
one that wasn't actually in here, and maybe I should have put it, but it didn't really seem like a very important decision. Was like the first decision that you made, as Robert, as Mecha Man, which was whether or not to drop um, Toxic before you find out he's toxic. Did you guys drop him or pull him back from the balcony when doing that interrogation?
I pulled them back just because at that point of the game, you have no idea what's going on. So it's kind of like,
Right.
okay, well, I kind of want to figure things out before I make a choice like that. Although I'm more really curious to know what happens if you drop them.
Yeah, like I am too. Jason, what did you do?
I dropped
Do you
him.
remember? Oh, so what
Yeah.
happens if you drop him?
Oh, he there's a mattress in the garbage dumpster beneath, so he
Ah,
lives.
come
He falls in there.
on.
My original when I started the game, my original idea was that I was just gonna pick like the roguish options, and thankfully the writing became more complex in that it's not like good or bad Mass Effect or
Yeah.
Yeah.
um it, even some Telltale games get into that kind of like it seems like
Well,
a black or white dichotomy. This they
something that
did a
I
pretty good job.
actually
And they're not always, it's not like one side or path is always assigned to one of the buttons. They flip it up where the things are. So it's never like you actually have to think about the choices as they're presented.
Hmm.
Yeah. And something I noted while playing through this game was it never felt like the dialogue decision I was making was misleading me. Like, I feel like that happened a lot with Telltale games, where you would pick a dialogue choice because you thought it was just like a totally normal thing, and instead your character says something very different and very angrily, or very out of like expected tone than what you
Yeah.
anticipated, and you come to immediately regret picking that choice because you had no idea it was going to be delivered so poorly, or different from what you expected. This game never really did that to me.
It did that sometimes, most notably with like the Gollum chair situation, which I don't know if that's like one of the things we're gonna talk about, but
Well, oh
that
yeah, that's
was,
on
oh
here.
yeah, it is. Okay, so yeah, I'll wait to say it, but that was the only time where I was like, no, I didn't want to do that.
Oh, I mean, okay, we'll talk about that,
Yeah, yeah.
because I don't know how you
There,
could get
there were
misled by that
very
one.
few misleading, but it wasn't as much as
Okay.
previous Telltale. You're right about
Yeah,
that.
I never felt like this game misled me into picking a dialogue choice and then it not being what I expected, and therefore not what I wanted. I always felt like the choices were very clear in terms of what I thought Robert was going to say and what he actually said. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, the game's opening with I guess you could call it the downfall of Mecha Man. Um, which was like it was a good way to level set the game, good way to introduce us to the character, kind of
Yeah.
find like he's opening kind of with a therapy session
Yeah, I
with
was gonna say
Toxic
that
and
that framing, because it's very much harkens back to a lot of, particularly The Sopranos, the way the first episode of The Sopranos opens up. But yeah, um,
Mhm.
kind of telling the audience that this is going to be first and foremost character focused on the development of this character. Yeah,
Yeah, and I thought it was really well done and a really good way to introduce us to like to Mecha Man and what that stands for. It's not just Robert Robertson, it's his predecessors as well, his father and his grandfather. Um and uh, kind of showing how legacy is important to him and I think the how did you guys handle the press conference? Where I think the choices were to just like walk away, answer the reporter's question, or to attack him. What did you guys
I think I
do?
attacked him. I think I was still in my roguish state where like I was only going to choose the
Okay.
roguish options, and I think I attacked the reporter. Yeah.
Okay.
What happens after that?
Um, I think I don't remember what happens immediately after. I think no, the arm's broken from that. I think there's like a news report, and they say the news reporter says like you couldn't be charged because nobody knows your real identity. Still,
Oh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you
yeah,
you
'cause
punch
I
them in the
answered.
face, and then it flashes to you outside the shop in the street, and the news reporter's
Oh,
talking about how you punched someone and they couldn't charge you.
oh,
Hmm.
okay. So there's
Okay.
no like real consequence.
No, no,
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
I answered his questions, even though
Oh,
he was
okay.
being a little bit too much towards the end.
Wow. So we all picked something different. I walked away. I didn't. I felt like the reporter was really rude, and I didn't want to attack him or answer him, so I just left. I just walked.
Yes, one of the
Um.
interesting things about this too is how it presents three options for all this stuff, and they managed to keep the main character, Robert Robertson, on the same character arc, but with different twists and caveats. The main differences are really amongst the people around you, and I found that really really impressive how they managed to do that. They managed to maintain that forward trajectory with that same character, just with little caveats that don't majorly affect his endpoint. It's really the characters around you and major actions that they take.
Well, I think it's like it's kind of a situation of it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, and you're really like the journey is very different depending on the decisions you make with this game, but like they really they stay within the character arc that Robert is having while also informing it in different ways,
Yeah.
and that leads to some pretty big
He never
differences
he
in
never
the
feels
end.
out of character is I guess what I'm getting at. It never feels like
Yeah.
ridiculous you choosing one option versus the other.
And it's less about, I'd also say it the decisions that you make inform the things around you that then get Robert to his destination, to the conclusion of his character arc. But at the same time, it's like the decisions that you make are affecting the world around you, and that's really where the intrigue comes, right? The intrigue comes in like how you handle certain relationships that we're going to talk about, and how those relationships conclude. You wind up with a completed character arc, but like the other character, specifically one character, like the way her story concludes is going to be drastically different depending on the decisions you made to get there.
Right.
um and I think that, I mean, that's a really good way to have this level of choice and actually impact things. They just might not be about your main character, and I think they pulled it off really well with this game. um and I love how that we springboarded into this by talking about a decision that really didn't matter. The press
Literally,
conference one I
literally the
don't think
first
matters at
decision.
all.
Yeah.
Well, the first decision is dropping is whether or not to
Or I'm
drop
sorry.
Toxic.
I
Then,
guess the
like,
second major decision. Yeah.
yeah, it's like it doesn't matter. I was just curious what you guys did, but like we can get into some of the ones that do matter more, and that's when after Robert meets Blazer and you're in the bar, like and Flambe kind of gets very aggressive toward Mecha Man. What did you guys throw at Flambe?
I threw alcohol. I wanted to see him
Yeah.
burn.
Alcohol. Alcohol. I
Oh, we
lit him
all
up.
picked the same choice. Boring. Yeah, I threw alcohol at him.
And I just love how like he had no eyebrows for most of the game.
And I guess the last one for episode one, did you guys, when talking to Blazer, did you or did you not kiss her?
I did. I didn't feel good about the decision because one, like
Yeah.
I just met her.
Yeah.
It felt like things were moving too fast. I knew nothing about her, and she was under the influence. And in hindsight, I probably should have rejected, but I also didn't want to make her feel bad or like she was ugly or something, so I did it anyway. And plus, she saved my life, so I'm like, all right, well, if she wants it, I'm gonna give it to her.
Yeah.
It's the least I could do.
Yeah, so
Jason.
this is I alluded earlier that I had the game threw me off the scent. I foresaw that one of the
Yeah,
romance options was gonna be a traitor or betray you somehow, and the entire game I assumed it was Blazer because of this
I did
opening.
too. Hmm.
How
I
quickly
did
she
too.
goes into romance you. Also, just the fact that she's the more like traditionally attractive looking character versus Invisigal. Um,
I mean, I think they're both
but
very attractive, but you know.
they are no. I'm
Wait,
saying like
yeah,
in
Tom
terms of
Blazer
like
has big boobs.
proportions, curvy.
This is
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
how we find out Jason's really into voluptuous blondes.
No, the point is that like from a storytelling perspective, she's the more quote unquote traditionally attractive. But and so I assume they were going to try to subvert that. And then on top of that, I figured that she's trying to hire you, so that's kind of like a weird, slimy boss trying to take advantage of you, being in
HR violation.
in the dumps. Yeah, so I did not kiss her because of that,
Oh, okay, okay. See,
because
I
I thought she
I
was gonna.
play.
I thought the twist was going to be that she was a traitor somehow.
Well, I kind of did too, although it wasn't like immediate. It was just like over time. I also thought the game was kind of doing a rug pull, but I I I I chose to kiss her, and I was like kind of like playing the character, like in that in that opening part of the game, and in a lot of the exposition, like you come to view Robert as a very vulnerable guy at a very low moment, and here comes in this beautiful woman that takes him out for drinks and is hanging out with him, being really kind to him, and seemingly wants to hire him and basically put his life back together. I kind of I mean, I played through this with my wife, and we both made the decisions mutually, and I think she actually said it before I said anything. She was like, kiss her. Um, so yeah, I kind of viewed it as like, in Robert's situation, a little buzzed and kind of being and kind of getting all of this, his luck kind of flipping a coin, and suddenly things looking up for him all of a sudden because of this beautiful woman. Like, yeah, I think he would probably kiss her. So that, I made that decision because of that.
I want to
Um,
know what Jason's outcome led to, like how she reacted to it, since he's the only one that didn't choose to. But before that, this reminded me of a point that I wanted to make, which is that I felt like the bar to make decisions was too fast and very anxiety provoking. And
Yes.
thankfully, you could pause the game to think, which I did
well,
chronically. But oh god, it was too fast. Where I was like,
but I
I
think
don't know.
But I also think that's very intentional. I don't view it as a bad thing necessarily. I think there was only one decision where we paused, and I can't remember which one it was. Um, but yeah, which one was it? I
Well, while
genuinely
you
don't
think
remember
about
which
it, for
one.
me, it's like I couldn't even read all the options before I could even think about them before it turned red. So I was like, "Oh, okay, I need to pause, like, to be able to
And that's fair.
make
Like,
a decision."
maybe like the time to read three like, I feel like with most of the really important decisions, you're just given two options, which maybe
Yeah,
makes it a little easier to, like, you know, choose with your gut, which is what the game really wants you to do, right?
yeah.
But like, yeah, I with just the two options, I feel like it works out a little better. I didn't think it was too bad. Yeah, and I think I remember which decision it was, and I'll bring it up. I'll bring this point back up when we get to that decision.
Mhm.
But were
All
there
right.
any other notes you guys want to bring up about episode
Uh,
one?
just just to answer Delilah's question, it's not that much different. It's just she kind of comes back a bit, apologizes. Robert says no worries, and then it's just she'll remember that. That's pretty much it. I did want to
She
note
will
though,
remember that.
yeah, um, I did want to just note though, how good Aaron Paul is in this, from the get go. Like I was expecting to see Jesse Pinkman everywhere, and I did not.
No. Yeah,
Robert
no.
Robertson very much feels like his own character, so applause to Aaron Paul.
Yeah, he was great.
Very
Which like
standout
I
performance here.
I feel like, and I feel like I kind of had a poor perception of him at the for the first few episodes, because I feel like he just came off a little bored, and that might be because when I think of Aaron Paul, I do just think of Jesse Pinkman, who is a very I'm I you know, try no pun intended with this word, but he's a very animated character when it comes to
Yeah,
Breaking Bad.
science, bitch.
Like he has a very different performance in these two things, and I shouldn't view this one as bored when it's just a very different character than Jesse. But like, I don't know, Aaron Paul as Jesse, it's like an iconic performance, and it took a little bit for me to get used to Aaron Paul not
I can,
playing that character, you know?
I can actually equate it to some of the later seasons of Breaking Bad where Jesse is very specifically in a depressed state of mind.
Yeah.
Because this character starts off in a very depressed state of mind. And you
Hmm.
do see a change in it, and it's still its own character. I'm just making the point of like there's some comparison at certain points between the characters. But over the course of these episodes, as we'll talk about that, you do hear a bit of a change in inflection, that tone. It's still a
Oh
bit
yeah.
droll, but like he's definitely a bit more, as he becomes more attached, you hear it inflected in the voice. It's a very good job on
Mhm.
his part.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, we can like let's move on to episode 2. Robert's first day at what's the name? SDN, Superhero
SDN.
Dispatch Network. Yeah. Um so did you guys give Roy a fist bump?
This is one of the decisions that I regretted, and I didn't, because in
Me
real life
too.
I would never, because I'm such a
Yeah,
germaphobe, and I think
Yeah.
that's crossing a boundary. Like dudes, like in real life, like straight up, never ever talk to anyone while they're taking a piss, period. And I don't have to worry about that kind of etiquette because I'm a woman and we have
Yeah.
stalls. But like I just put myself in the shoes of men all the time. I'm like, nah, I would not do that. But then like I love Royd, and I learned to love him as the time went on. I was like, damn, bro, he could have, I could have took the germs for the guy.
making a man mecha again.
Ah.
No,
Did you
I didn't. I did not fist bump him either. For pretty much not. So men do talk when they piss, and they're standing next to each other, but you don't fucking fist. But no, no, that does not happen.
I mean, you
Um,
speak for yourself, Jason. I have stage fright. I have a hard enough time pissing at a urinal when there's other people next to
oh,
me.
I
I
just
definitely don't talk to anyone.
having worked in an office setting, I can, and talking to my coworkers while we're
Oh,
taking piss together. Yeah,
I have too, but yeah, I don't talk to people.
okay, but no
I,
fist bumping is the point.
definitely no fit. And yeah, Delilah, 100% agree with you. I also we all didn't fist bump him, and I also came to regret it as I got to know Royd more. Like, dude is a total bro, and he definitely deserved that fist bump, but I
Yeah,
just didn't know it yet. I just didn't know it yet.
right.
Um So yeah, getting to meet the other characters. Like we got to meet the whole Z team. And there was that point, I forget what the exact reason, because this we're talking episode 2. Invisigal punched Robert, and you had the option to rat her out or not. Did you guys do it?
I did. I didn't look at it as ratting out. I looked at it as like telling the truth about what occurred.
Yeah, and that like I'm using because I booted up the game and looked at my past choices to kind of inform how to write these notes, how to write these decisions, and the game does view it as like ratting her out. But like I agree with you, it's like I made that. I guess that's one instance of like
I think I remember the
misleading, but it's like
reason.
what was the reason?
So remember, you get sent into the room to get changed into your uniform, so that people don't know that you're Mecha Man. Um, and she's waiting in there. so you can either say that Invisigal was in there spying on you or not. Which I guess, as
Well,
I'll
no,
just say, I did not quote unquote rat her out.
no. She does that with Blazer in the room. That's your introduction to Invisible. But there's a point where she punches you, and I don't
Oh,
remember why she punches Robert. Like what decisions lead to a punch. Here, maybe I can if I can look it up real quick. But in the meantime,
either way,
when
I did not rat her out.
oh okay,
I don't.
I
Yeah.
did. But it's because I viewed it. I didn't view it as ratting. Like same thing Delilah said. I didn't view it as ratting her out. I viewed it as just saying the truth about what happened on your first day.
See, I can speak from the experience of being a supervisor in the service industry. You got to ingratiate yourself when you're just starting.
Um. So yeah, it kind of has to do with the outcome of like the mission and her disobeying you and the things that you say to
Right.
her. Like she winds up punching Robert, and you can choose whether or not to tell Blazer about it. But
Oh, that's right. Because
anyway.
you like chastise her for being a villain, and she'll only be a villain if
Well,
she's going.
you chastise her for the outcome of Granny's Donuts, like the
Yes,
her
yes.
going to take out the I forget the villain that was there, but she kind of botches the mission and disobeys Robert's orders, and that was kind of the argument they had. By the way, what donut preference did you guys pick?
I mean, I would never choose this in real life because I think Boston cream or any cream-based donut is disgusting.
Are
But
you fucking
I'm
kidding me right
no,
now?
that shit is nasty,
Are
bro.
you serious?
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm
guys.
with
We have to end.
Delilah.
We have to end the episode early. I just found out that I don't have two friends. I can't believe you would say that to me. What is wrong with
I
you?
think
Yo,
Boston creams
Delilah,
are like
Delilah.
universally bad.
Yeah, look, Delilah and I are from New York, and there's only one trusted source of donuts in New York, and that's Dunkin' Donuts.
Wait, Jason, get the fuck out of here. What are you
I love that
talking?
this is the most contentious part is the donut
I
choice.
can't believe you just said you live in like a food capital of the world, and you just said there's only one place to go to go for donuts in
That's
New
the
York
irony.
City, Dunkin' Donuts. Are you
That's
kidding
the
me?
irony of growing up. That's the irony of growing up in a blue collar family in New York is that you are in the food capital of the world and you eat all the like
I
generic
think I
chain.
gotta go. I gotta go get a drink. I can't believe I'm listening to this shit right
Well,
now.
okay, look, hear
I'm
me
just
out,
kidding,
right?
by the
Like,
way. Like I generally don't really eat donuts, but when I do, it's generally at a family thing from Dunkin' Donuts.
Fucking hell.
hear me out for a sec, okay? Glazed donuts is the choice that I would pick, but I chose the
Yes, I
Boston
agree.
because I wanted people to hate, or I wanted people to give Robert shit for it because know, at least I feel that Boston creams or any cream-based donut is like disgusting, and so I wanted to see how that would play
You,
out.
both
And
of you are blowing my mind right
I
now.
go to Dunkin' Donuts often. I have to actually have to stop now, and I have, somebody that works there always gives me the Boston creams because no one wants them. So that's just
What the
empirical evidence, but yeah, that
what the
Yo,
hell
high
is
five,
wrong with you New
digital high
Yorkers? Are
five,
you
Delilah.
kidding me?
high five.
Yo,
I'm
fuck
so
off, you fucking
upset.
Phillies fan. Fuck
I'm
off.
so upset. I'm not a all right, well, don't put that on me, but like I just don't know you two. I feel like I
Get the fuck out of here.
The glazed donut is
Yeah,
superior.
the Glaives in this
I
situation. Just a note on how you thought they would react, though. Just a little comment on the humor here. One of my slight criticisms is the humor here in this overall in Dispatch when it hits, and it does hit a lot. It's one of the few games that's ever made me laugh out loud while I was playing my couch. And I want to bring it
oh
up
Yeah.
because it's
good.
from this one of the best jokes in my opinion in the entire game is during that mission in the Granny's Donuts. And
Mhm.
Robert is making all the police jargon, and Invisible Gal goes to make a joke and is trying to come up with a name, and she says Lieutenant Jan, and then Lieutenant Dan, and then of course in reference to
Mm.
Forrest Gump, Aaron Paul with like the best delivery ever is like, "Yes, I am the crippled Vietnam War veteran without legs." Like it made me laugh out loud while I was playing. At the same time,
This
though, flip side, my criticism is
oh
how
okay.
much crass humor that just doesn't really land, and at time can be a bit cringe. like you
Yeah,
mentioned how you expected they would respond to you saying Boston Cream, and you can imagine all the like really eighth grade sexualized jokes you make, and you do get quite a bit of that here, and it doesn't land quite as well as when the writers are on their A game, like with that the aforementioned Lieutenant Dan joke, which had me like gut bursting laughing. Especially
yeah, I
Paul
agree.
delivery is spot on.
Most of the humor is excellent, but there's a few times where it didn't fit for me either. It felt very
It
forced.
I
But it
mean,
was
yeah, it
few and
reminds
far.
me. Oh, sorry.
you
Go
can't
ahead.
have something you can't have something with all bangers, right? Like there's going to be some things that land, some things that don't, and it's going to differ person to person. I do feel like I normally do feel like a lot of that crass humor can be just feel very forced, and this game never really felt
Yeah.
that way to me. Like it mostly felt like it landed, and I was surprised about that because it's not typically my kind of humor, and they somehow nailed it for the most part. And
Most part.
I was very impressed by that.
Yeah.
Sometimes the crassness lands, but a lot of times for me, and this might just be a personal thing. A lot of times for me, it didn't. Probably more often than not, when it came to the crass stuff, it felt like, how do you do, fellow kid? Like, how do you like the game is really trying to push, being adult, having a lot of swearing. Like, we'll get to Chase as a character, but I feel like they don't say fuck way too much.
Oh,
Like, almost like
don't tell me
trying to
you
be
didn't
Samuel
like
Jackson.
Chase.
No, I love Chase. I'm
Okay.
just saying, like, tone down. I'm reminded of a long time ago. I can't remember if I watched or read an interview with one of the writers on the team for Cowboy Bebop, and after they finished, when we're in the editing process, they specifically did a couple of runs of editing on the writing to eliminate as much, if not all, swearing, sexual references, anything from the script. Because even though they wanted the humor in there, they wanted it to be taken seriously. And I feel like sometimes here with this game, they push the adult humor too much to the point where it's, how do you do, fellow kids? Like,
Well,
and
I
it
think
it, it hurts the seriousness of the story a tad bit. It's not super major, but it is a running criticism throughout the game style that I have.
so. I mean, that's fine. I don't think I really fully agree. But like, I also think it. You might have to look at it from the perspective that, like, remember, or I guess it's something we haven't brought up. We can talk about it real quick. Is like the Z team project. The whole reason, like, or the whole team that you're mentoring as part of the
Project Phoenix, yeah.
Phoenix project. Yeah, is a bunch of reformed supervillains, and they're like pretty low level supervillains, but they are supervillains, and they're being reformed and trying to be flipped into heroes, and that's kind of why you're there mentoring them. You're a semi-retired hero that is getting his life back, but is also like going to mentor some of these lower level villains and trying to reform them. And so I mean you have the angle that they're all supervillains, but the other angle is that they're all voiced by like internet personalities. So we
Yeah.
talked about Alana Pierce being Malevola. Sonar is voiced by Moist Critical. I'm trying to remember some of the others because I don't know all of these
Jacksepticeye.
people. Yeah, Jacksepticeye voiced Punch Up. A lot of them, if not all of them, are voiced by like internet celebrities, or you not even internet celebrities, but like YouTubers.
Prism also.
Um, I don't remember. I didn't recognize all the names. I actually didn't even recognize that because they use the real names for most of the characters in the credits. So like I don't know
Yeah.
Jacksepticeye's real name, and I just
Yeah.
like as soon as Sonar spoke, I recognized it as Charlie. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
I
I know
just
who that
knew.
is because his voice is super distinct.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I recognized Alana Pierce's voice. It really disappointed me that she was Malevolent, because I found that character very it was interesting from a visual design, interesting mixture between a tiefling and magic from Marvel. Um, and all the characters, I think they did a great job with all the characters. But yeah, it was just like it was so clearly Alana Pierce. I'm like, oh God, which character did they
I
curse with
mean,
Alana Pierce's?
I
I
think
don't
that's
think.
fine.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
think
know
that
why
was
you don't
her
like
choice
Alana
either.
Pierce, huh, Delilah? Sorry.
I don't think it was her choice. I think because I went down a rabbit hole of like seeing the voice actors react, especially the like content creators react to the characters
Yeah.
as they played the game. And she was like she didn't feel comfortable like being herself as a character, so it probably came across a little bit in the character, that awkwardness. But I thought she did fine. I thought everyone did
I
pretty.
thought I thought they all did great. I thought they were all fantastic. I
Yeah, no,
really.
no, no. I like them all. Like I'm kind of like I'm harping just because I find Alana Pierce as a person to be, but it's fun. It's just her voice to the character. But like
Hey,
aside
she
from
didn't
that,
bring up that she used to work at IGN, Jason, so you can't
that is
complain too
true.
much.
That is true. But no, no, no.
They
I
didn't work
agree with
that
you
long
guys.
into Malevolous dialogue.
I agree with you guys. Like broadly speaking, the entire team and all the characters are memorable. They stick with you. They've got distinct personalities, and they're all likable in their own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other now that we can finally move on from the donut debate, I still I feel like I
Dude,
used to know
that's an
you
all-time
guys
classic.
You
30
chose
minutes
That's an
ago.
all-time
Boston Cream,
classic.
didn't
We're gonna have
you?
to make a, YouTube is right now really into these shorts. We should make a short from our channel and just use that argument for the
I feel
short.
like I knew you guys. I used to know you guys as of 30 minutes ago, and now I'm just like I don't know you anymore. What the hell? What have
So
you done to me?
you chose the
You-
Boston Cream, didn't you?
The Long John, which I don't know why it's called that, but like I think that was intended to be the cream
See,
the cream filled.
this is the difference
Yeah.
between New York thinking and Philly thinking. If something's called a Long
Get the
John
fuck
in New
out of
York,
here.
we fucking question that shit.
So when God. When the question came up of Blazer
Wait,
asking Go ahead.
sorry. I have one more thing to say about the donut. Honestly, in
Here we
hindsight,
go.
though, no, this is like for the game. In hindsight, that's a good choice to pick, the cream one, because Robert likes Twinkies, and so I feel like that's the choice he would have picked.
Boom, there you go. Dude loves some Twinkies.
It was just gross.
I was impressed that like they even got like the Hostess sponsorship and everything.
Yeah.
Like those were Hostess brand Twinkies in this
Yeah.
game, man. Like they really got that brand. It
Yeah.
almost worked. I could go for some Twinkies right now.
Was half expecting it to be
Um
like Twonkies or something.
They
I mean
should have
that
canceled the Twinkies. They're just so bad.
what, Twinkies? You don't like Twinkies?
All right, we
No.
don't need another pastry argument.
I mean,
Okay.
don't get me wrong, I can't really eat them much anymore. I mean, I
Yeah.
shouldn't eat them much anymore, but I want to eat them all the time. Um, all right. With Blazer and you know being asked out to dinner by first of all the revelation that she's dating Phenomena Man, I thought that was gonna be I thought that was going to be a much bigger problem than it seemed to be, at least in my playthrough. But did you guys go to dinner or say or I guess say yes to dinner
Hell
when
no.
offered? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
That only made
me
me more
neither.
resolute. Yeah, it made me more resolute and more sure of my decision to not kiss her.
Yeah, okay.
I felt bad at that point. I was like, damn, man, I really fucked up by kissing her. Uh,
I do like it, and this is another point to how clever some of the writing can get in this game.
Mm,
How they take the classic, Superman trope of, Superman's not a human, Superman is a Kryptonian, he's an alien. Phenomenon is
yeah.
an alien, but they actually play that into like his manner of speech, the way it's like overly heroic, and it's because he's a fucking alien and
It
doesn't.
feels very alien.
Yeah, he can't properly socialize with humans, so they play on that classic Superman trope and actually utilize it within the context of the performance and how he interacts with other characters.
mhm.
Again, it goes back to like how fucking super clever the writing in this game can be for as simplistic and crass as it can be sometimes.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
also feel like a fantastic performance by was it Travis Willingham? I want to say it's Travis Willingham. Um as I'm quickly trying to find that out and I'm struggling to
I'm
actually get
forgetting.
confirmation.
Yeah, I know. I know Laura Bailey and Jeffrey Wright are chasing and Blazer. I forget who his voice was though.
Oh my god, why is this so hard to just find? It's not that hard. I just have to put voice. Okay, yeah, it's Travis Willingham. Travis Willingham did a fantastic job. I really feel like every voice actor in this game did a fantastic job. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, we didn't really talk much about like Invisigal as in her introduction because, you know, spoilers, she's kind of the other romanceable option, but I feel like her introduction like was a really good setting to like or not setting, introduction to setting up the two love interests, right? In the same room,
Mm.
you have Blazer that's like having you come in for your first day after like whatever transpired in episode 1, and you have this more troubled character that is hiding in the room, and this whole episode kind of really sets up her character and kind of makes it obvious that she's going to be the other love interest, but I feel like it doesn't really set up how. At least not. It doesn't really. It's not terribly obvious to me. Like, I guess
At
like
first, more setting up like a parallel, thematically and character arc wise with the main character. Because Robert Robinson's arc here is kind of rebuilding. He has his sense of self, his identity kind of taken away, and it's a story about a man kind of rediscovering his sense of self. You mentioned no
yeah.
superpowers. I kind of felt there's a lot of kin between Robert Robertson and Tony Stark. In some cases, quite literally, how a lot of Tony Stark's stories about him in the shadow of his father and kind of discovering himself through that
hmm
lens. You see a lot of it here. But the same goes for Invisigal kind of being an avatar for all of the villains, rebuilding themselves, so to speak, finding their new identity. And then mix that all with kind of the found family, unlikely group of rogues, story archetypes, those two archetypes of redemption and found family smashing together. You got something unique and fun in a, as you guys, but kind of exhausted setting, but made fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I actually, at this point, didn't know that Invisigal was a love interest. I thought she was just being a creep. And when she came out and asked, like, if me and Blazer were like fucking, she's very like to the point, no filter, sometimes to a fault. But hilarious. Like the that whole like line of dialogue that she had in that scene was it had me like hysterically laughing. I just didn't know she would be a love interest until she was like, "Hey, it's kind of hot." Like I forget why she called him hot. I think like he had like this like I don't know good
She jokes about him
guy
having
like
a dad
dad
bod
vibe
or
or
something.
something. There you go,
Yeah,
dad
dad
bod.
Yeah.
bod when
That
she
was what
sees
it
him
was.
changing in the conference room. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was like fucking hot, and I guess that would be the only indication. But I thought she was just being silly. Like she probably would have said that to anybody.
I also I like that a lot. Like her, you know how flawed of a character she is. I like how that even comes down to her powers.
Mhm.
And also like how she handles her powers. She's only invisible if she can hold her breath, and she's asthmatic, and she still smokes.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like she has these powers, but she views them as such a uh kind of like a curse, you know. It's not something that
Mhm.
she's happy about having, and something that she doesn't like having, so she doesn't really take the proper care and attention to nurture them. She kind of is very ambivalent toward them, and doesn't really do what she needs to do to make sure she can utilize them properly. And I feel like that it's a great way to portray the character,
Yeah, definitely a lot of
even if
self
it's a very
sabotage.
silly thing. Sorry, Delilah. Sorry.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt. But just a lot of self sabotage she does at first,
Yeah.
which
I
checks
mean,
out.
all throughout the game, yeah, as we come to find out. Are you guys ready for episode 3?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we gotta get moving through these, even though I think we're talking about a lot of good stuff. Um, so yeah, episode 3 is kind of that. This is the one where you're thrust with the setup of you got to cut someone from the team, and that brings a lot of anxiety. And I think this is a good time to also talk a little bit about the gameplay.
Mhm.
Um, because episode 1 introduces you to how the gameplay is going to work. Episode 2 is like kind of just like continuing that, but with the new team members that you're going to be controlling. Episode 3 is where narrative and gameplay really mix, and I think that it was really well done.
Yeah.
So Jason and we both really liked how this gameplay worked, but Delilah, like, start off and like tell us like what didn't you like about it?
Yeah, it's not that I disliked it. It's just not what I was playing the game for. I felt like the
Okay.
whole decision making piece is what I wanted out of the game. So this to me just felt like a mini game that I just wanted to get through so I could get to like the meat and potatoes of the game.
Okay.
But I did think that they integrated these sections in a way that made sense for the story. Just hearing like the back and forth banter between characters and some of the missions, like kind of like having some funny quips and things like that. And they did, you know, later in the game, it set the tone with like sound and just the way the characters interacted with each other, depending on what was happening in the story. So I do think they used it effectively, but this game is already so incredibly anxiety provoking to me that these sections were just added a level of anxiety to it that I just couldn't handle. And I was just like, look, I just felt like I was just wanted to get it over with most of the time. So it's not that I thought it was bad. I just if the game didn't have it, I probably would have liked it just as much, if not more.
Oh, okay, okay.
But I don't think I'm not saying it has to be out of the game. I just prefer not to.
You could do without it and you would be content.
Yeah, and I think the problem is too, like sometimes like you had to make decisions based off words, and sometimes I thought I was making the right call, like assigning a character depending
Yeah,
on a
for the
word,
stat, like,
and it
yeah, figuring out like what specific stat it's correlating to, and sometimes it can be misleading or interpreted in multiple ways. Yeah,
But I
yeah,
think that's also like that's part of the puzzle, right? You're a dispatcher. You're only working with what you're given, and you have to decide based on that. Like, okay, who do I send? And it could be the right. It could have been the right call based on the information you're given. It could have been the wrong call. But like, I kind of view that. I don't view that necessarily as like the game misleading me or trying to trick me. I guess I just view it as like I view it as a puzzle to solve, like
yeah,
I said, and I think that if I make the wrong choice, like some, I guess that was like the one instance of the game sometimes misleading me is like, especially when it came to strength or vigor, like I definitely felt like I had trouble deciding the key word and which stat it correlated to, and thus which hero to send.
Yeah. And it was
Um,
interesting. There was just like one point which I'll mention towards the end of the game that I felt like me making the wrong like not navigating it the proper way, like not having a perfect dispatch really impacted me story-wise, where had I been given like a dialogue choice versus having to like perfect this dispatch sequence, my choice would have been very different. So that kind of like bothered me, but we'll talk
sure.
about that towards the end because it's one of the
okay,
ending scenes. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
I mean,
okay.
for me, the childhood RTS fan in me loved it.
Mhm.
I mean, it's basically like it's kind of a faux tower defense type deal. With I really enjoyed the hacking minigame too. Even though like a few
Yeah,
times when new mechanics were introduced, it could get a little frustrating. Specifically the balls that chase you, the security balls.
the
Because
firewall. Yeah.
when you try to like lead them around, the AI is almost like too good. It will like anticipate you trying to lead it around and then cut you off in a way you can't escape. But Yeah, I enjoyed that, and I also liked the progression system, and that was addictive. I just overall very much enjoy it. I can understand some of the flaws, and for people that are, not into that sort of thing, but it's simple yet effective, and most importantly, they use it properly in just about every episode to convey something story-wise at least at some point, whether it's characters
Yeah.
disobeying you, character dialogue, different things happening, events that you have to contend with, et cetera, et cetera.
And episode 3 is like the first one where I really feel like that comes out because there's the anxiety of the team in the because there's usually in every episode there's two shifts. In the first shift, there's anxiety around the team, like knowing someone's going to be cut, and they kind of are all disobeying you or all over the place. Some refuse orders, some just like yeah, they kind of play the what's going on in the narrative into that first shift, and then in between you give that pep talk, and you kind of can dictate like how to give that pep talk to them. And Robert starts talking about the Phoenix program and what a Phoenix is. And were you guys like, how did you play that? Did you play that more like inspirationally? Did you call them all Phoenixes? Do you remember like kind of how you played that discussion?
I did do the Phoenix one. I was like, "Oh, this feels weird." Like it felt corny. I don't know that choice. I think I would have rather choose one of the other options. So I guess that was kind of a regret. Although it was inspirational, but like,
Yeah, I mean, I
oh,
think
you guys
that was
all have
the.
potential. Ooh, like,
I mean, I think that
grow
I
up.
chose. I called them all Phoenixes because I feel like that was like him giving that pep talk. I felt like that was the right choice, and it was also like I don't know. Yeah, it was. It was definitely corny. Don't get me wrong, but it did feel like like, yeah, man, like that was a really good way to amp everyone up. Like, good fucking job. I don't know, I liked it. It was
It was a
corny, but
good
I liked
corny.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good corny. It was a good corny. Um, so oh, and also, yeah, I guess that this is where you get the choice of either throwing the chair at Gollum or sending him out of the room. So what did you want to say about that,
I thought
Delilah?
that I was giving him the chair to sit on, not to like throw it at him.
Oh, I thought he was going to throw it at him.
Yeah, because I think the option said give Gollum the chair, not throw the chair at Gollum.
Did it? Let
So that's
me.
what threw me off. Like I wanted the little, when he'd bump into me, I was like, I'm letting it go. He's a big guy. He can't control this. Like he looks super cute. I want to be nice to this guy. And then when it was time for me to make that decision, I was like, no, I want him to sit down like a good boy.
um, yeah, I don't know. I kind of assumed that it was going to be like chuck the chair at him or not. Um, so okay.
I kicked him out.
You kicked him out, and how
Yeah.
did that go?
Oh, he just leaves.
He just leaves.
Aw.
Yeah, that's pretty much. He just goes
I
out the
love
door.
him.
Hmm. I mean, uh I threw the chair at him. I figured that's what was gonna happen. So
It was pretty funny because like it doesn't hurt him. He's a big rock.
yeah. So I mean, at the end, like, after you give that pep talk, like the second shift goes much better. But like at the end of the day, who did you guys cut?
I cut Coop just because at that point, like I think I had more I liked the dynamic between Sonar and Malevola. I felt like they were like these like not Bonnie kind of like Bonnie and Clyde type, teammates, and I felt like they worked really well together in the dispatching sections and were really strong in certain missions. But
Mhm.
also at that point I hadn't really like Sonar gave me more character than Coop. I mean Coop was cool. She like character design and voice acting, and her like, she's an assassin, so I vibe with that. But I thought Sonar was just more silly for some reason.
Jason.
It's funny. It's funny you said it because for pretty much the same reason, but opposite. I cut Sonar because in the gameplay sections, I got way more benefit out of Coop's special abilities when you train her. She like bumps up the stats of other characters she's paired with. And I didn't like Sonar's mechanic of like switching between the how it changes his stats or whatever. Just the way I was
Yeah,
playing.
yeah.
Um, so I
So
ended up
you
cutting Sonar.
so you picked Coop because of gameplay purpose or mostly for gameplay purposes, where Delilah and I cut Coop and kept Sonar mostly for just like character and personality
Yeah,
reasons.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wanted to see him like stop using drugs at some point since Malevola was his sponsor. I was like, oh, okay, it would like there's a mission here.
yeah, I really
That is
enjoyed.
funny how in the dispatch in the actual gameplay sections, like he'll just wander off and become unavailable, and then other characters will talk about how he's like on a fucking cocaine binge or whatever,
Yeah,
and then it becomes a mission you
yeah.
have to send somebody on to bring him back. Yeah,
Yeah, I really enjoyed Sonar. Like, yeah, and being introduced to the character, Sonar as a character was more appealing to me than Coop. Like the personality of the character, I just vibed with a lot more, and
well,
that's
we'll
ultimately what
talk about.
I chose.
I don't regret the choice, especially considering I guess because neither of you guys picked. You cut the coop. You didn't see how it turned out in the end with Sonar. So
Oh,
I don't
Well,
regret it because it's interesting how it comes back in the end.
okay, so yeah, we'll talk through that. Um, anything else about episode 3?
no,
Okay. Okay, episode 4. Did you tell Blazer her areola was showing?
of course
Of
you have
course.
to.
Yeah, you gotta be polite.
Yeah.
Can't just like, not bring that up.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like a I don't know, a color error until it was a dialogue choice like, hey, your areola show. I'm like, oh no, this is like a legit thing. Like this is a dialogue choice. They really gamified telling a woman that her areola
Yeah.
showing. Cool.
I actually played this game with censorship, so I had no idea what was happening, but I assumed. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh,
Ariel.
you played it with censorship. Okay, that's interesting. You had the Nintendo Switch experience.
Yeah. I'm a prude. generally.
yeah.
So
You have
Uh,
mentioned that before.
Honestly, I kind of like looking back. I kind of wish I did. Just going back to that crash thing, like I didn't need some of the nudity and stuff like this. Kind of makes sense and it works. But there's some of it where I feel like the game again, like the game's kind of pushing the adultness of it a little too hard. Like, hello,
like
fellow, kids.
I do
we
think
did.
it was. Sorry, Delilah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we didn't mention episode 1. There's literally a
Yeah.
character with his like dick out, and
Dick
they
out,
have
yeah.
like a nice
Like
tight tie
all
up
of
in the
that.
balls.
That did
There's an
make me
episode.
nervous that this
Well,
was going to be a lot of the game. Was just like, oh, is this? Please don't tell me this is going to be a lot of just like dick jokes and
I
nudity
think
for
I
nudity's
think
sake,
the
and it
next
wasn't. I don't think it was.
I think the next episode is the one that opens on something pretty explicit that I feel like wasn't necessary.
I think it was actually this one because
Was it this one that opens with
I think it was.
Invisigal having a dream, a
I
sex
thought
dream?
that was no. I thought that was fine. I think that was actually pretty. I mean, it was like a graphic sex scene, but like I think it was kind of important for where her mind was at. Like, oh, she's
But
having this random
I thought
dream about.
you didn't need to have that so explicitly to convey what it's trying to convey. It's kind of like
I don't know.
I agree with that generally.
right now
I'm not gonna be so puritanical. I think it was fine.
it's not even puritanical. Like I don't mind adult stuff if like the aerial thing, and later on you do see Invisigal's. We'll get to it. You do see Invisigal's breast, but there's a very
You
good
see him in
specific
that
reason
scene.
for it. Um, but
Yeah.
in this case, it wasn't. It's very similar right now coming out on television. There's a lot of talk about the Night of the Seven Kingdom show, and without spoiling anything, people generally liked it, but the beginnings of the episodes tend to open with some pretty unnecessarily explicit shit, and literally shit
Wow,
in some cases.
a Game of Thrones spinoff having explicit stuff? Really?
I don't watch
Well,
that show.
no,
That's crazy.
it's stuff that's not from the source. Like it happens to be like in the Hedgehog books. I like the Nook and Egg Tales. I like those better than the main series itself. So I'm pretty familiar with the source material. So it's stuff they added for the show specifically. But the point is that I'm getting at is it's similar to that conversation where it's not necessary and it doesn't add anything to the show.
Yeah,
With the specific the opening of her just having a sex dream and like having an orgasm, and I just felt like it wasn't necessary to convey that she's having feelings for him. It's just there to emphasize that there's an adult story.
I don't know.
this
I disagree. I think it was extremely necessary, but go ahead, Delilah.
this bothers me for 2 reasons. I agree with Jason, but not just with this scene, just in general. I always feel like there's more creative ways to demonstrate things like that. Um, the thing that bothered me the most is that I feel like it really colored a lot of people's decision when it came to the romance, and I feel like that's like a little unfair.
Okay, and that's a fair point. I think that's definitely a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was fine. Definitely unexpected, very graphic, but or not graphic, explicit, but like I thought it was good.
I have like a
Um,
question when it comes to voice acting, which none of us can answer, but if anyone could that does voice acting, like, do you do the moan that you would do in real life, or like is this like a fake thing? That's what I want to know.
well, I
Like, did I
think
get
the
a
only
glimpse
way to
into
do
Laura
it
Bailey?
I think the only way to do it while the same way you do it in real life is to never
I mean,
mind.
a lot of these are done. A lot of these are done. Like a lot of these voice actors just work from home now. So like, who knows what they're doing? They could be doing all sorts of things. Who knows?
I'm not gonna sit here and make assumptions about Laura Bailey and Travis Willingham and how they recorded dialogue for this. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna sit here and thought and hypothesize about it either. We have too much other shit to get to.
I know.
Um,
That's another thing. When this game was announced, Laura and Aaron Paul were very flirty on stage, and I remember
yeah,
feeling it was awkward, but now it makes complete sense after playing this
yeah,
game.
definitely, it definitely makes a lot more
Yeah.
sense now. Um, so I guess wait, Delilah and I kissed Blazer at the beginning, and Jason did not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Delilah, did you tell Phenomenon that you kissed Blazer?
No, she had already broken up with him. He was depressed. He was not in his right state of mind. I just didn't feel like it was the right time, and I didn't even know if it was even like like, oh, we kissed, we were drunk, you know, but or
Yeah.
like this was something serious at this point. So I kind of just was like, it's not worth telling him right now.
Yeah.
And I also
It
think
get
like maybe it would feel differently, and I don't know where you guys were on the romance path, but like in terms of like just keeping it in mind in the decision making, but like if you were planning to romance Blazer, I feel like it would make more sense to tell him. But if you were planning on romancing Invisigal, it would make sense to not tell him because it's like it's not something that's important anyway. It was kind
Yeah.
of like a whatever, so like I don't think it needs to really be brought up.
Yeah, and at
well,
this point I didn't
even
really
though I didn't.
know.
Oh, sorry. Even though I didn't kiss her, it does give you the option to say that for me, or it did for me, that it could that she might have broken up because of me. So it kind of puts you on that
Oh,
same path
okay.
anyway, even if you don't kiss her.
And I
Oh,
was, yeah, I did want to ask that to see like how that differed
did you
because I
tell
But
feel like
yeah,
him?
I did. No, I just said that she's her own person or whatever, and she gets to make her own
Hmm.
choice. I was kind of ambivalent with the
Yeah.
romance. I really didn't want to romance either of them,
Oh, okay.
but
I
the
wonder if
game
That
that's
kind
was
of
enough.
does force you. But well, it's kind of
Oh.
icky both ways. You're either hooking up with your boss or hooking up with your underling, underling,
with your
um,
mentee.
with your employee or an employee that you're supervising.
I mean, it's a
It's kind of weird either
coworker. You
way.
could just say coworker, you know?
Well, but no, though,
Yeah,
because you're the supervisor, so you're technically a superior.
well, you're still yeah, but it's still someone you work with. They're still a coworker. It's
I don't know.
just that you're higher on the food chain than she is. Anyway, you're right though. In that either way, it is icky. It definitely is. But it's like this game doesn't really. I feel like it doesn't really present it that way only because it's a very lighthearted,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
you know, it still tells an emotional story, but like it is in a more lighthearted tone. It's not there to make you feel bad about like your romance. It's there
Yeah.
to put you on a path toward a romance. And I feel like that's part of like the game's or a part of the character's arc is like trying to find somebody, you know, some
I did it. I did eventually kind of like as I away from just hitting rogue option all the time and started kind of getting into the story. I did feel like Invisigal became the more natural choice the way the story was progressing, and I'm glad I did because of the way it affects how the story played out. Um,
agreed.
and the
Yeah.
game also kind of just forces you to kind of choose one at certain
Yeah.
points. But
Well, I think at the end of this episode, but before we get to that, who replaced Coop on your Z team?
Water Boy. I love Water Boy.
yeah, hell yeah.
Wow, we all picked Waterboy. Jesus Christ.
Nice. Team Water
Yeah,
Boy.
I like the I think the achievements, the trophy or I guess achievements too if you played on Steam. I feel like they kind of put it pretty well where like for Waterboy you were giving him a chance versus Phenomena Man you were giving him a second chance. And I feel like giving someone even more down on their luck a first chance to really prove themselves is just the more honorable choice.
Right.
Um and yeah, like I felt bad for Phenomena Man, but like no, Waterboy he needed a moment, you know?
Yeah, Phenomena
Yeah.
Man needed some time away from Blazer, so having, her basically still work with him, I didn't think that would have been a good idea for either of them.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Um okay, so dinner with Blazer or movie with Invisigal?
I want to hear what you guys chose because you're men.
Um, well, I chose the movie A because I would rather go to the movies than dinner, but also B because I knew that the game was kind of at a choke point where it's trying to make you choose one, and it felt like
Yeah.
Visigal's story evolved more. The romance, I mean, evolved more naturally and organically as part of this story than Blazer's did. For me, it felt like most of the game Blazer was like gone after like the first, not gone, but like wasn't nearly as present as in Visigal.
I mean, I feel like that probably would have been different if like you made other choices that did kind of lean more toward Blazer, but like the game does I definitely agree with the prospect that like the game mostly prioritizes Invisigal as the romance option, because so much of Robert's arc is surrounding being a mentor to her specifically, so she just inherently gets a lot more screen time, a lot more, and she being like on the Z team, she's actively involved in the dispatch shifts. Like you just inherently get more time with her, spend more time with her. So I mean, I
And they
also
both have very similar redemption arcs going on.
yeah. So I also, at this point chose to romance Invisigal and went to the movie. Delilah, what did you do?
Man, y'all were influenced by that sex scene, weren't you?
I
I no,
I
I
saw
mean,
told you, I told you, I
Blazer.
didn't. It put me off. I didn't want to choose either, but I had to.
okay. Yeah. Or not really, but yeah, I guess sort I agree with you that that's a really good point. Like someone sees that and they're like, "Well, I feel like it has to be Invisigal. She had a dream about banging me. I gotta choose her." But
Yeah.
like, I guess you chose Dinner with Blazer.
I did, and honestly, like, the only reason I had against Blazer was the fact that she had a boyfriend, and I feel like people need time before they jump into a new relationship. But I just felt like Invisigal, like maybe I would have chose her if I was like 14, because she was just very impulsive. She made a lot of rash decisions. She was like, I felt like I couldn't have any privacy if I had a relationship with her because she'd always be like stalking me, like be invisible and stuff like that. And and aesthetically, I like Blazer more. Although I prefer brunettes over blondes, I
Yeah,
did like her more, which actually played out really nicely for me in the end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which she like
yeah.
once
That's
you
not,
romance her,
that's
you find out that she's actually brunette and she's not like this big, busty, tall
Hey,
girl.
spoilers. We haven't gotten
yeah,
that
yeah.
far yet.
Oh,
But
I
that's
thought
another.
that was
That's
like
just
right
an
after.
Yeah, that's just
Well,
another count against Blazer, though. Is that she tried to kiss me while she was in a relationship, and I was like,
well,
no, I'm
so
not about that.
Yeah.
how does the date with Blazer go? Because yeah, the movie with Invisigal, you show up with like you're on the call with her and she's talking through like the previews of the movie and like you show up with popcorn and candy and everything and it's like this very heartfelt moment. But how does the date with Blazer go instead?
Yeah, so immediately after you guys have dinner together and she's wearing that dress and she's like, "Oh, I got to tell you something." And she has this like necklace on and when she turns like presses the necklace that reveals like the truth about who she is. She does this like Sailor
Oh,
Moon transformation
Oh, so for
and
Jason and
oh,
I'm assuming that we didn't
yeah,
find that out until the very end.
yeah, yeah.
oh,
That was
That's
kind of a
why
twist.
I was joking like spoilers and you said
I see.
like
Yeah,
now
that
it
makes
makes a lot
sense.
more sense.
It's
Yeah.
also
Yeah, and
that's
then
also like
yeah.
one of the few plot nitpicks I was going to bring up, but that's interesting. It gets brought up earlier.
Yeah, and
Okay.
he's like,
We'll talk about
"What's
it.
the big deal? I
The plot
prefer
nitpick, the
brunettes
plot nitpick will
anyway."
come up later with Chase.
Okay,
But
that's
yeah,
fine. Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's just like, I prefer brunettes anyway. What's the big deal? Like, the only difference is she's shorter. She's less like busty. She's still like curvy, but like a normal person, not this like
Yeah,
big
she's not like
fussy like
super muscled
superhero.
up yet.
Yeah, and she has brown hair, which I was like, even better. But I don't know. I
Huh?
just felt like overall Blazer was more like level-headed and chill and had her shit together. It was just I feel like the boyfriend thing was there to like throw me off because again, there's something about it at the end that didn't quite pay off for me. Like I thought
Yeah,
that was going to
I
be more
feel
of a
like Blazer is going to be my rebound in Dispatch 2 in the same way that Mary Jane was Peter Parker's rebound after Gwen Stacy dies.
oh shit.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Hot
didn't. Yeah,
take.
so but then I saw
Okay.
most people chose Invisigal, and I was like, it's because the beginning of episode 4. That was what I chalked it down to.
I mean, look,
She's a hot
we've
mess.
talked about it. I think the game just does naturally, just because of all the reasons we've described, I think it does naturally kind of try to veer the player toward her. Um,
Right.
Hmm.
so and maybe in the end that makes a little more sense, and we'll talk about why when we get there. But any
Yeah,
other things about episode 4 to bring up? We get to move on to 5.
yeah.
Okay. We haven't talked a ton about Chase, and I really love Chase.
Me too.
And we're gonna talk about him over the next few episodes a whole lot more. But like, he's part of the reason why Robert got the job. Chase recommended Robert for the job to Blazer, and that's why she kind of scopes him out. And you find out that, like, yeah, Chase's story, it's a little bit tragic. His power kind of accelerates his aging, and he didn't realize until it
Another
was a
very
bit too
clever
late.
play on classic
Yeah.
power tropes. Yeah,
Yes, yeah, agreed. And like Jeffrey Wright plays the character wonderfully. He's like he behaves like a much younger guy, but he's a much older guy in
Yeah.
appearance.
yeah.
So that dichotomy of appearance versus behavior is very enjoyable
And
and
the running
just
joke
very
of him looking
fun.
like Einstein, like a black Einstein, is great.
Yeah,
Again,
Yeah.
again,
and
one of the jokes that just always hits, even like, and they very clever on how they bring it up.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
also think that, and this again, this gets hit home even harder in the next few episodes. But like in this episode, it really kind of shows through a lot of how much of kind of a mentor Chase is to Robert, and or at the very least, like a father figure in a time where Robert doesn't really have one anymore because his father's dead. Um, and he poses the question to him while they're working on the suit, like if you had the chance, if you had the opportunity, would you kill Shroud? And Shroud's kind of like talked about. He's mostly talked about. He's not really introduced until way later, but he's talked about a lot because he is the villain responsible for Robert's father's death, the second Mecha Man, and is the
And
reason that
also responsible for your suit being destroyed ostensibly.
right, yes. Like the beginning of the game, we didn't talk about why Robert's Mecha Man suit got destroyed, but it was because of Shroud and his gang of goons attacking and destroying it. So like he poses that question of if you could, would you kill Shroud? And what did you guys say to that?
I said yeah. No, I wouldn't, because he kind of like made it seem like it wasn't the superhero thing to do. Um,
Yeah.
Any
that's all.
time across the game that the idea of vengeance got brought up, I was like, yeah, kill the motherfucker.
Okay. Which is in line with how you were playing the
From the beginning,
character.
yeah. That was
How
like the one
did
thing that kept solid. I kind of changed the. That was one of the great things about the game. I felt like I was actually into the role playing as the character. I felt like I changed my way
That's
of
cool.
choosing over the course of the game, with the exception of that. It was always like vengeance headed.
How did
Okay.
Chase react to you saying that?
He says, "I don't think that's what your father would have wanted."
Mm.
Which is a very mentor fathery thing to say.
Yeah,
God, I love Chase. Chase is so great. Okay.
Jeffrey
Yeah,
Wright is so
I
great. Yeah,
yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Definitely true. I think this is interesting. This is a choice where we all made a different choice. I said I don't know.
Mm.
Because like I don't know, I kind of viewed it as like a you could say no, you could say like no, I won't kill him because that is the more heroic thing to do. But for Robert, where his head's at, where the character's at, and how much Shroud has done to him, I felt like he couldn't definitively say no, but also couldn't definitively say yes because like he could say no, but in the moment, you never know. Like his mind might change. He might see an opportunity and just decide, yeah, you know what, I'm going to take it. And I kind of didn't. I kind of preferred the ambiguous choice over the definitive ones.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, I don't think it's that one. I don't think that's a decision that really changes much, but
No.
it is a decision or it is a dialogue choice that I really liked that they decided to pose that, and the character posing it to Robert, I think was a very important. It was a very important exchange. I felt,
Yeah, definitely.
even if it
Especially
didn't
because
pack much.
there's things that play out later that might change your decision.
Yeah, true. Um, so following the date with either Invisigal or Blonde Blazer, like did you guys lock in those um romance options, I guess? Did you
Oh yeah, I was all
like
in on her.
okay. Jason, did you
I
say
think
you
at
had a
this
good
point,
time?
it said, it gave you the option, like, can we just be friends or something? And I chose that because I was still like, I really don't want to romance either of these people.
Okay.
So
Wow. All
actually,
right.
with Blazer, it plays out a little different. You have the choice to
Yeah.
pick either Mandy or Blazer, versus them being friends or romance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In which case, I said both. It's the same shit. You could transform if you want. We could do both at one session, if you wanted
Hmm.
to. Just gotta press the necklace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, and that's interesting too, because like Delilah, you were all in on Blazer, I was all in on a Visigal, and Jason was like, "Yeah, that wasn't a date, no, or not a date, like let's just be friends." Like you're really trying to just like get rid of her.
But then
So that,
later, well, we'll get to it as we go
yeah,
forward.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. But like, it's still interesting that we played that. We all three of us played that very differently too.
Yeah.
Um, So I liked here's another thing about this episode that I really liked, especially leading up to the final choice, because you go out for a night of drinking and I think the episode opens with one of these and it's like intercut a few times with additional scenes where Mecha Man, Robert as Mecha Man is fighting like an unseen villain in like flashbacks, and like it's pretty obvious, but like it is revealed like, yeah, it's Flambe. Like you had a bigger rivalry than like even that opening, like, do you throw water or alcohol on him, really led on.
Right.
So after like the bar fight, which that bar fight, that was awesome. Like that was a really cool sequence.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I think here's another gameplay thing we haven't talked about. I didn't even think to write it in the notes, but like there are scenes that have QTEs
I
and
turned them off.
Yeah, me
oh,
too.
okay. Oh,
I
I
was
did them.
thankful they had the option.
I think this game handles them in a slightly more interesting way where like it gives you a shrinking circle, and when it finally when the outer circle enters the inner circle and they kind of become one, like that's when you're supposed to press it. So it's like not just a press the button as fast as you can, but like here's the prompt and you have to press it at the right time. But the other ones are like you have to hold the trigger and then move the stick in the direction that the line is in. So it's just like if you're going to have QTEs, making them a little more involved like this, I just think is a little more interesting.
Yeah.
I could definitely take or leave them overall, but like having them there and having them be a little different and more interesting, I kind of appreciated.
Hmm. Yeah. I chose the cinematic route, so I think it was a great decision for them to have that option because QTEs have
I
been played out. But I'm glad that
Yeah,
when you use it, they're implemented in a more interesting way.
Yeah, that's like a
yeah.
conversation that's been around since like God of War 3. Yeah.
Oh, well, I would
Just
say even
QTs
earlier with
generally. No,
I was going to
it's
say
just
Resident
funny.
Evil 4.
Or yeah, I guess there were some people even back then that were saying it. It's just funny
Yeah.
how long that's been a conversation, like no more QTs, and yet they're still here with us.
Yeah, and they're never going to go away. They'll just never they'll persist forever. Um but that fight scene I thought was really well choreographed, really well animated, really fun to watch, and it was really exciting. Like you've had 4 episodes so far, 4 and some change with this 5th episode, and finally the team really feels like a team, and they're all like kicking ass together. It was exciting to watch, but in
Yeah.
the end,
Yeah, that relationship is very well paced with the team becoming one. Yeah.
in the end, you're posed with a choice. Do you tell them who you are, or do you tell them you're just Robert? What did you guys pick?
I told him who I was. I told him I was Mecha Man. I felt like at that point, like we have good camaraderie. I could see them all turning a new leaf, and I just felt like lying to them would have been. I don't like lying, period. But I thought
Well,
lying,
wasn't lying so much. It was more so withholding
yeah,
your
omitting,
identity, and but like you're still telling them the truth. You're just Robert. You're just Robert. Yeah, like that's who you feel like you are. And you're not lying to them necessarily by saying that. If you can't
I,
tell, that's what I chose.
oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I felt like I was just omitting crucial information about who I was
That's
and
fair.
a really important part of me.
Yeah.
So, like, who am I to like have everyone else like turn a new leaf when I'm over here hiding who I actually am? I don't know. That's how I felt.
Okay,
Yeah, my thought
Jason.
process was just I told him I was Mecha Man, and my thought process was just like for the point that the story was at, it felt like it would be weird not to tell them because it's working towards like trust them being a team, a family, and also they just got
Hmm.
in a bar fight with you. So
Yeah.
bros that
So
fight together stay together.
how did Flambe react to that?
He punches you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the team backs you up.
Okay. Okay. So, and that was another reason why I withheld it, because I was worried, like, what's going to happen if he reveals
He
that, and like,
disappears
how's Flambe
in
gonna?
like the actual gameplay for like an episode, but then comes back.
Oh, okay. Okay. So nothing too egregious.
No, he's a
No.
piece of shit anyway.
Yeah, but I was still
Yeah.
like, oh well, like I feel like either option, it's like I could say just Robert and it won't really upset anyone, whereas if I said I was Mecha Man, it won't upset anyone but Flambe, so I chose the option that would upset
Yeah.
no one.
Mm.
Because like even choosing just Robert, like
Yeah.
they were all pretty accepting of that. Um Like they didn't really have an issue or any animosity. It was if anything, I felt like it was kind of a nice choice for him to just like, I kind of chose it as him like being accepting of his current state, of his
Yeah.
current like status, and like, he's not really Mecha
Mhm.
Man right now, so he's not going to say that he is. Um
How
so that's kind of why I chose that.
did they react? I wonder if they react differently when they find out he is eventually.
We'll get to that with episode
Okay.
6. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and this is an episode. I feel like a lot of cool stuff happens in this one, but this one doesn't have like a ton of serious choices until closer to the end, where like Robert's in his apartment, they all show up to plan out getting the astral pulse and whatnot. And like when it comes up about the about where it might be, did you guys think the team could handle it? How did you guys kind of play that choice or that decision?
This is when they were like at Robert's house and
Yeah, like
and
they're
then
all
Yeah.
at
The
his apartment.
housewarming
and
party.
Visigal was like, "Oh, let's go right now." And I think like
Yeah.
Chase and Blazer were against it, saying you need a plan. Um
Yeah. So yeah, I think the options were like, let's make a plan, or yeah, let's go right now, or I don't think we can, like something along the lines of I don't think we're ready, or I don't think you guys can handle it.
Yeah,
Something like that.
I didn't think it was the right time just because Shroud was always like a step ahead of everything, so I felt like
Hmm.
planning it was a little bit better. Plus, like I wanted to hang out, continue enjoying the party.
So this is actually where me and Jason were kind of aligned on like thinking there was going to be a rug pull with Blazer. And I kind of had this assumption that Blazer was working with Shroud, and that's why she said no, we can't, because she was trying to prevent anyone from like disrupting Shroud's plan or something. Which
Right.
turned out not to be true at all.
Yeah, like Agent on the Inside, like in Infernal Affairs, Departed type deal. Yeah.
Yeah, like I thought she was saying no just to keep us from interfering, but like, Blazer was a complete like straight shooter. Like she was exactly who she said she was, and I was definitely I misled myself basically by thinking that she was in on it somehow.
Hmm.
And it was
Yeah.
like, kind of turns out that, as we'll come to find out, like the more obvious choice was the correct one, or the more obvious culprit was the correct one. But when Chase, drunkenly chastises Invisigal, like who did you back up in that moment?
I backed up Invisigal just because I felt like it wasn't the time to do that, and he's already had a chip on his shoulder about her, and I didn't want to like demonize her further. Like I already denied her at this point. I'm like, okay, look, I like you as a person. I want to be your friend, but I'm not trying to like make you feel like you're not a part of the team. So I thought that like it was important in that moment to back her up, even though she's made some really bad decisions. Like how else is a villain supposed to change unless they learn like the consequences of their actions and have someone to like be there to support them through those consequences.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Jason,
there's like
what
a
do you?
middle option that it's like, hey, what's going on here? Put her down. It's like a neutral option, I think.
Yeah, and that's what I picked too. It was like, let me see if I can find it real quick. It was everybody calm down, which is ultimately what I chose. Something that wasn't too defensive of Invisigal, not too defensive of Chase.
Right.
It was just like, you know,
I basically avoided
everyone
every
chill.
opportunity it gives you to like simp for Invisigal. I avoided, but at the same time,
Okay.
like I didn't think Chase was on the up and up. I mean, he has your best interest at heart, but like he was fucked up and he was getting in a
And
Yeah,
fight.
it went too
and
far.
and it's this moment where he drunkenly does that, where he drunkenly reveals that Robert's Mecha Man to everybody.
Um,
But conveniently not yet at the party was Flambe, who shows up late, so he still didn't find
Yeah.
out.
And it's at this point, if you do reveal it earlier, Flambe does show up, and there's like kind of like a conciliation. He's like, "It will take me time. You'll still be a bitch most of the time, but I'll get over it."
That's
Kind of deal.
Oh, I forgot to say, when they were at the bar in episode 5 and he was
so
doing
good.
karaoke and singing that song, but like I'm a bitch, that was stuck in
Yeah.
my head for like a day.
Me too.
Yeah, that was really fun. Oh, but anyway, back to episode 6. So yeah, Invisigal runs off to get it anyway on her own. She kind of goes rogue to go retrieve the pulse, and Chase winds up saving her because she couldn't reach her inhaler.
Sorry, did you guys choose to go that night, or you chose not
Oh,
to?
I said no. I said we shouldn't.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
all three of us didn't. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I went like I helped Invisigal as best as I could. Some of the hacking mini games are a little tough, but like I did
Yeah.
what I could. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, it winds up like Shroud like seemingly like puts her he what's the word I'm looking for? He I can't think. Oh my god.
He tricks her,
He
doesn't he?
uses
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so basically she goes in and with your help over the overcom, she's able to secure the astral pulse. But when she comes out,
Yeah.
everybody's been taken out by Shroud, and she uses or Shroud should say uses some sort of smoke grenade to fuck with her asthma, so that she can't turn
And she can't
visible and
reach
can
her
barely move.
inhaler.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, Chase winds up like running to save her, and it's like, man, when he said that, like
That's probably one of the
what he
best
said,
moments in the whole game is right
I think he
before
yeah.
said
he
like
blinks out. Yeah,
try to keep up or something, and I was like, no, and then he goes, and it's
yeah.
like, no,
Yeah,
Chase.
that was so
And
emotional.
like the end of that episode, like I said, I really wish I was playing this as it was coming out, because I would have been so upset for a whole week, just like anticipating, like, how are they gonna wrap that up? Don't tell me Chase is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
it's a shame because it was probably the most powerful moment in the whole game for me.
mhm.
And I mentioned that there's one plot caveat that I
Well,
very
I'm
much have a nitpick with, and it's this one
okay. Like,
for
do you
two
want to get into
reasons.
that?
Well, let's wait to the end because it's
Okay.
contingent upon what happens at the very end.
Okay. Then yeah, well, like put a pin in it. Anything else with episode 6? We good to move on to 7.
Yeah.
Cool. Twinkies, beer, or cigars?
Twinkies. That
Yeah,
is another
Twinkies.
reason why I didn't choose Invisigal. I don't like cigarette smoke. Get out of here with
Yeah.
that.
Okay. I really liked this opening flashback, and this choice, like again, like plays into Chase as a as just a in this flashback, it's not really so much a father figure, but like
His
he kind of
brother.
is at the same time, because yeah, like a brother figure, yeah. I guess that's like a good way of putting it. Probably better than a father figure. You know, he does kind of act as like a big brother to Robert. I guess that's a better way of putting it.
I think both, though. I think there was that combination because,
Yeah, I
like,
mean, I think there's a line you can kind of tread and flip between
Yeah.
the two. Um, but like this flashback, I feel like does flip the switch and solidify him as a brother figure, an older
yeah,
brother figure. You know, he was always around him, babysitting him and stuff. But like, you know, he's letting him get away with like some stuff.
And it's easy to forget he's not that much older. He just looks that much older.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. It's and like it was a very good way to open the episode when you immediately see after like he's in like critical condition.
hmm
Um and as a result of choosing to go save Invisigal. So this is where I maybe have a little bit of like some narrative I raise a narrative eyebrow, I guess. The team's decision as a result of these events to cut Invisigal, and regardless of how you guys what you guys chose, like I don't know, I feel like this decision in particular, I found it a little hard to believe like this was the one that sent everyone else over the edge for her. um I guess I kind of took that. I was kind of taken aback by that choice. But what did you guys choose for this?
I mean, I could see why they did, just because like it was the first time a team member had actually been at risk of like dying.
Yeah.
So I think that's like a pretty serious consequence. And like, look, she didn't know that she was gonna fail, and she didn't know that he was gonna rescue her, especially after he did what he did to her. Like
Right.
before that, you know, the falling out that they had. But I thought that was like a good character moment for him to like prioritize the team members, even though he didn't really like how she operated. Um, but yeah, I chose to not cut her because again, I just felt like it was gonna further demonize her, and I really wanted to kind of see how she operated after, like, see if she learned her lesson. Although at this point, this would have been like the third opportunity we gave her to do the right thing, and she keeps messing up. Which is
Yeah.
another reason why I didn't romance her, because she was just making things very complicated, and I don't like complications. But yeah, I chose to defend, to keep her on the team.
Okay. And then how did the confrontation in was there a confrontation in the locker room then?
Yeah, I think there was like one person who agreed with me. It might have been Prism. I can't remember who it was. Like that
They
she
all
kind of
agree. They
like.
all agree to cut her except the golem, or maybe I'm thinking of the boardroom where
Yeah, I
golem. I think Mark. I think
Someone
you're referring to the one with actually Invisigal, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, because like so I chose to cut her
Mhm.
So did I. So did
because
I.
not because I wanted her off the team, but because I felt like siding with the
It's
team's
not
interests
personal.
was more important. Yeah, right.
Yes.
And when you like afterwards, Robert goes to the locker room, I think to just change
It
out of like dirty clothes or whatever, and
it's where she goes
Invisigal
to
is there
kiss
to
you.
confront him about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, before that, she also drops another truth bomb. And wait, so Delilah, did you get any of this in the locker room, them
Yeah.
talking?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, and this is where she drops that, hey, I'm the reason your suit's destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shroud, I
I
was
mentioned
on
earlier
Shroud's
she
team
shows up.
and
You
had
see
to
her
drop the
breasts
bomb.
and you see the robotics in her lungs or whatever from
Yeah.
Shroud. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Um, and after she dropped, so like, this is the next thing is like, did you guys forgive her?
Yeah, I forgave her. Again,
Okay.
I just felt like not forgiving her and further like pushing her away from the team would have just pushed her to the other side for some reason. I just had that. Like I just felt like it would have made things worse, I guess.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then when I'm guessing when she kissed you, you both leaned out.
Well, first of all, like, bitch, like first of all, my big brother just died, okay? Or almost died because of your stupid ass decisions. And you know I'm all blazer at this point, and then you're gonna go ahead and like show me your titties and then lean in and kiss me during this like very like crazy moment where we should be prioritizing like worrying about our team and our health and like what we're gonna do. And then you're trying to like make things sexual was just really off-putting to me, and so I had no problem pushing her away.
I mean,
Although
it
I
was like
forgave her.
it wasn't so much. I wouldn't call it out as like make things sexual. I would call it out as like it's romantic. Like the way the progression of the story was going.
Yeah.
Like you have both of them in love with Robert, but like you have to choose. And like I was it was her shooting her shot, I guess, after everything that's happened.
I
Yeah.
thought
And
it was
this is
And
bad timing.
well, I mean,
this
it
is where
wasn't the best timing, but she's not exactly the best person at determining that. So
yeah, this is
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier I started kind of like role playing more what I thought the actual character would do. And this is where like I told her like I cut you, it wasn't personal. I've had that experience in real life. I can understand it, but at the same time I forgave her and it felt like a natural
Mhm.
like um step from forgiving her in the context of that dialogue to lean into the kiss. And it felt like the
Yeah.
romance kind of organically had evolved, like I said earlier. Um, so that I basically did pretty much the same thing you did, Mark.
Well, I leaned in because I was
No, I did. So did I.
romancing her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah,
you did. Oh, you did lean in. Oh,
yeah.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, I was the only
Even though
one.
I'd been trying to avoid simping for her the entire game and romancing, it kind of naturally, I felt like that's the way the story, like, that's the way the characters should have gone. It felt.
I have a feeling you and I are gonna have the same ending, the same conclusion to all this, but we'll see. Um, okay.
And
It
this is
felt like
why
an
So,
I,
icky moment to me, but I wonder if it's because I was romancing someone else.
yeah,
yeah.
I think there's some key differences between our playthrough, Mark, and hers, just because
Well, yeah,
Delilah
definitely.
was with Blazer. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see that. It's yeah, and it's kind of coloring our perceptions of everything, you know.
Yeah, as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned, she was still, she was still she was cheating on what's his face, phenomenon man, not cheating. I keep saying it felt icky all around. She's your boss. She doesn't tell you she's in another relationship. She hits on you first thing. Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's why I say she's gonna be my rebound in the second one. Is
Be a rebound.
because without the jewel, she's like girl next door after you've been with the bad girl, and she breaks your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. For the press headline, did you guys choose to feature how heroic Trackstar was, or how much Invisigal messed up?
Trackstar, I wanted to focus on
Yeah,
the good thing.
Hell
yeah, track
yeah,
star.
that's the way to go. That's the way to go, man. And then yeah, or the conclusion to this episode was like the whole thing in the bar and like, you know, not very important decisions, but like I guess how did you feel about the Shroud reveal and handling like the bartender and Shroud kind of capturing you and asking
I
for the
loved that
astral
scene.
pulse? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool.
Also, given that we don't really see Shroud after, I mean, aside from um, Invisigal trying to get the pulse and getting trapped by him, we don't really see him
Mhm.
outside of the beginning. So they do a lot of character building with him in a very brief period of time. I thought it was very
And
effective.
and I also think like I don't know, I didn't see it coming. I had no idea who this guy was. I just thought he was some random dude in the bar. I mean,
Yeah,
clearly it's a villain bar, so clearly he's like a bad dude, but like I didn't
and he
expect it to
looks
be
like
Shroud.
an animated version of Jeffrey Wright, which is funny.
Actually, I think this scene played a little different for me.
Okay.
Did Blazer come and rescue you?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Blazer
Okay.
still comes and rescues you, but
Okay, cool.
like you had the option of like like breaking the glass in the bartender's face,
Yeah.
which I did. Um,
Hmm.
because I felt
Yeah.
like, you know, Robert was pretty down at that point. Like it just felt like something he would just be like impulsively do, and that yeah, the reveal of it of the guy at the bar being Shroud and all that. I think I spit in his face.
Yeah, I
Um,
broke the
Oh,
glass, and then Shroud gets up, goes behind the bar, and shoots him in the head.
well, yeah,
yeah.
no, no, I mean like I mean when Shroud has you upside down and he's asking where the astral pulse is, I think I spit in Shroud's face. Um,
I don't
I don't.
remember what I did,
Yeah, okay,
but
that's fine. It's not an
yeah.
important thing.
Yeah.
It's just like
I think I did too, actually. Yeah.
a
No,
color
when I
thing, you
thought
know.
it. Hmm.
But anything else for episode 7 before we move on to the
No.
final episode of Dispatch?
I
All
do.
right.
Oh, real quick, I would
Okay.
just say it's nice how they kind of bookend the penultimate episode with you and Blazer being in the same place. Thinking of all that could have been if, like us, you did not romance her.
For me, I was like, "That's my girl. Look at her
Wait,
go."
wait. What do you mean? Bookending it how?
So after she saved you from the villain bar, she takes you and you're all bruised and battered and you're
Oh,
sitting on the
at the
sign.
billboard, at the
Yeah,
billboard.
the billboard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same billboard. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Now I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah. Episode 8, the final episode, the culmination of all the choices you've made so far.
Hmm.
With a captured Invisigal, which by the way, like Royd just tracking her down and slapping the cuffs on, like
Making the man mecha
absolutely
again.
not.
I love that.
Did you choose to trust Invisigal or and let her and uncuff her, or did you keep her cuffed?
Oh yeah,
Uncuffed her.
I uncuffed her.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder how things would have played out if you had left her there, but I handcuffed her as well. That leads us to the most important choice of the entire series. Did you put Thumbstick Stick away, or did you have Invisigal do it?
Oh yeah, no, she has to do it. That would be
Oh,
disrespectful to both me and him.
I didn't touch that. Hell no. I made her do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I didn't make her do it. I just said I'm not doing it.
This is
Yeah,
probably
right.
for me. This was probably one of them. Like when I say some of them were cringe, this was like very cringe.
I thought it was
I
fine. I
didn't think
thought
it
it
was
was
necessary.
funny. I mean, it wasn't necessary. I was joking when I said it was the most important choice, but I
No,
thought it
no, no.
was
I know,
funny.
I know.
Um, okay. And I also thought that the dispatching in this one was really awesome. Like
Yes.
it was just very hectic, like the whole town. And
So
like,
hard.
oh yeah, we didn't even bring up like in episode 7, like either Coop or Sonar, whoever you let go, is like you find out they're working with Shroud, and they
Yeah.
wind up, or I assume Sonar, you find out Sonar is working with Shroud. Coop was
Yeah.
working with Shroud, so I would assume Sonar would be if you cut him.
Yeah.
Um,
And they become like kind of
so
a final boss in the final dispatch section. Yeah.
yeah, which was really cool. It was very just hectic trying to take them down while also handling other jobs going on. It was a very nice culmination of everything we worked for.
Yeah.
With like progressing the heroes and stuff. So it was really, really neat. Um, so during the final confrontation, where you have the option between not the, I guess I wrote fake in the notes. It's not really a fake astral pulse.
Like a
It's just a
prototype.
defective one. Yeah, like there's the true one that was in use. There was the prototype, the defective one. Uh, did you give him one? Did you give Shroud one, the other, or both?
I gave him both because again, Shroud's always one step ahead. So I figured my chances of him using the wrong one was higher if he just had both of them and had to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind
Like
of wonder what.
I mentioned earlier that like Robert Robertson seems like has a lot of Tony Stark energy, and I figured that would be a very Tony Stark move.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was a good way to outsmart him.
Yeah.
Like you said, Delilah, he's always one step ahead, so it felt like the only choice to truly fool him. I kind of wonder what it would be like to give him one or the other versus both, just because
Yeah.
it didn't seem like it would work if you like your. It didn't seem like the plan would work if you gave him one, like just one of them.
Hmm.
Um, I think this is a good chance to let Jason talk about his issue with Chase, since Chase kind of comes back in.
Right. So at the end of what was it? Episode or 6, yeah. So Chase uses his power to dash and save Invisigal, and in doing so,
Yeah,
he ages himself to the point where he gets knocked out. He's in the ICU, or whatever.
he's
He's
in
got all
critical
the
condition. Yeah,
yeah, critical condition, all the shit hooked up because he's like aged himself to borderline death. And at this point, Chase comes into the fight at a critical point where Blonde Blazer gets knocked out of the fight. And off screen, now, if you're like me and Mark, you'd not know that Blonde Blazer was powered by this jewel. So this is where
yeah.
it's revealed that the jewel, is the power up.
That's what gives the
However,
powers. Yeah.
that's what gives her the powers. The problem is it opens a question: why didn't she do that all along to heal him? Why wait till
Well,
now?
it's important to note that like the conclusion of the episode does note that like he's not healed.
No, I know that. I know that.
That Yeah, it's like he's borrowing that until they can figure out what to do to save him, I guess. It's like a temporary measure, which like I think the answer to that question is just that, well, it would prevent her from being able to be a hero, and
True,
ultimately in
but I
a
think,
town riddled with crime, she kind of needs to be.
and that's kind of the nitpick portion where, like, yeah, you can kind of brush it under the rug that yeah, she needs the jewel to do her superhero shit. She can't just have it attached to him, indefinitely to keep him alive. Although he can then do superhero shit, and if you know your DC comics, you know how fucking powerful Flash heroes can be. Um, Fast enough to fucking run through time, but more importantly though, I felt like it almost undermined that moment a bit. The fact that he kind of just shows up again. It took away a little bit of the dramatic heft of him. I thought he would have died.
That's a fair point. I'd say, I look forward to seeing how it pays off, like in the
Sure.
future.
Like, and
Um,
this is all assuming that we don't. At this point, we don't have a sequel. We don't have more story.
yeah,
And considering that like characters are continuing to remember stuff in the end game, it feels like there's more to be seen going forward. Given that it's like
yeah,
different characters will remember stuff after the point of you having any input in what's going on.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Like it did take away from how emotional that outcome was at the end of episode 6, or 7. The one
6.
where it's 6, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do feel like if they're never gonna make a sequel, or if they're gonna make a sequel, I thought it was a good way to kind of tie everything, and it was like, oh yeah, he's okay for now. But I don't disagree with you. I just feel like the way things tied at the end, that decision made a lot of sense. Because,
Yeah,
like,
and
had he died, I felt like there would have still been a lot of tension with everyone.
I think it was also just it was a very, like, it was an additional shock to that final sequence of events, right? Like, holy crap, not only is Chase alive, but he's got the thing that gives Blazer powers, and Blazer doesn't actually have powers of her own, which, she alluded
Well,
to at the
for us,
beginning of
for
the
us,
game,
there
like,
was that
remind
twist.
me.
For Delilah, there
Yeah, I
wasn't that
know.
twist. Yeah, yeah,
But it's still a twist. It's still a twist that, like, that Ch- Chase comes in and saves the day. Like, it's still like, it's not, maybe not a twist. Maybe the twist isn't the right word, but a surprise.
yeah,
You're not expecting Chase to just suddenly show up and help, because last time you saw him, he was on his deathbed.
Mhm.
Um, so but I get what you're saying, Jason. I don't know that it's like too bad of a kind of reversal on that idea, but I feel like it's going to be heavily contingent on how they resolve it in the future, if there
yeah.
is a resolution in the future. So I guess that remains to be seen. But
Yeah, and
I get the angle of it taking away from that dramatic narrative point.
yeah,
Go ahead,
because I
sorry.
feel like this was like a complaint we often make, is that sometimes like bad things happen, and then like the whatever, like I'm thinking about Ghosts of Yote. I'm not gonna say what, but like there's just like no consequences to the actions, and the consequences are actually like taken away. So I feel like this is like a kind of a good example of that. Although it didn't bother me here for some reason. I think because of the way things tied up at the end, that's why it didn't bother
Well,
me.
I think in this instance maybe there's not as much consequence, but there are. But Chase going into a near death state wasn't the result of any of our choices. But there's other things that are the result of our choices that do kind of pay off everything that we've been doing throughout the entire game, and
Yeah.
that I think that's more where the focus is in this game in particular. It's like there are consequences to the choices we've made. It's just this is not one of them.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, I
And
was thinking more of a consequence to a choice that Invisigal made, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um. So that being said, um, when you outsmart Shroud, did you spare or did you kill him?
Oh, I killed him. And the minute he fucked with my dog, like Beef, like nah, you don't fuck with Beef, bro. I
That
love
that
I love
was Yeah. We haven't talked. We went this whole time without talking about Beef. I mean, he's not important, but he is important to me.
He's so important. And that he's also why I love Chase, because one of the first thing Chase says is like,
Yeah.
I'll have every motherfucker in here burn
He has
before
like
anything
that.
happens to this dog.
He has that like Brooklyn Nine meme moment. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
so
I
He's-
went full John Wick at that moment.
I would have
Okay.
killed Shroud. However, apparently I did not ingratiate myself enough to Invisigal, so
Yeah,
Invisigal ends up
she
killing
did it for
Shroud.
you, huh?
Yeah. I don't even know. It said in when it gives your stats in the credits and you can read like what percentage of players, did what. It said like I did
Yeah.
not
You failed
I
as a
rejected
mentor.
her. No, no, and not even failed. It said something about like I rejected her, which I didn't get at the time because I kissed her, I forgave her, I cut
It's
her loose. I
it
wasn't sure like what
Well, it's
specifically it was
because,
referring to.
like, there's just certain things there's certain decisions that were made throughout the game that there's romance decisions, but there's also, I keep bringing up the whole mentorship thing because that's the other angle they're playing at with Robert toward Invisigal in particular. She's among the most troubled of these villains and the one that the narrative also puts the biggest spotlight on. So like there's the romance angle, but there's also the mentor angle. And
Hmm.
the game is factoring in like how you're treating her as a love interest, but also how you're treating her as someone that needs guidance, as someone that needs help. And there's
Okay.
I think like cutting her from the team definitely was probably a big one to push her toward uh killing Shroud and basically seemingly taking his place. She takes the
Yeah.
mask and like I think that's I mean,
But
I don't know
she
how they're
does
going to
she
handle
does
this
give
with
you
the
she does give you the astral thing back. Even though it does seem so. Basically, I didn't have a
yeah,
choice with Shroud. I would have chosen to kill him, but she does it. She takes his mask, but she also gives you the astral, whatever it is, fucking pulse.
Astral Pulse. Yeah.
The astral pulse back. So it's kind of like
So
a yeah.
and Delilah, with you killing him, like what did Invisigal do, or how like what happened with her at all in your ending?
I think she took a bullet for me,
Oh
or
wow,
was
okay,
it for me? She took a bullet for somebody. It's been so long since I played the game. She took a bullet,
okay,
basically.
okay.
Um,
But she remained on the good side or the hero
yeah,
side.
yeah. There was
Okay.
no what. She turns bad for you guys.
Yeah, like she kills Shroud before I chose to spare him. Jason chose to kill him, but neither of us got to do that because Invisigal shows up and kills Shroud herself, takes his mask, and then disappears.
Oh.
Which like seemingly means that she's taking his place. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of
Oh.
how I took it.
Well, that's what
Uh,
they kind of
Yeah, they
not
I think they even
explicitly.
imply that or
Yeah.
yeah, to say it flat out, something along those lines. So, like and I wonder how like if there is a future for Dispatch, if there is a season 2 so to speak, like how are they going to handle, the villain if Invisigal for us seemingly is going to be a villain, but like for Delilah, she's on the hero side. So how are the decisions going to carry forward to something like that? I always wonder that when there's season 2s to these kinds of things and the choices can so dramatically change how things end.
I
Well,
love that.
that's the thing is that
Oh,
given that she gives you, even from our perspective, where she's quote unquote the villain, she does give the astral
yeah.
pulse back,
Yeah, but
which
it's
could
still
indicate that she's doing her own thing.
yeah, for sure, but like it's definitely not a good
No,
impression to leave us on for her,
it's like the gray Jedi. They do what they want. Like,
especially with and especially how the the summary of your choices frames it. It definitely frames it. I think it even says like you pushed her to villainy or something.
Oh wow.
Which definitely implies that like yeah, no, she's now leaning into Invisibitch more than Invisigal. Um so
That's actually really, really cool. I like that that decision held that much weight. How did you guys feel having like romance? Because I feel like that makes for a more emotional story, like this just
yes,
like push
I
and pull
mean,
with
I
Visigal.
I I definitely found it to be it was a shocking way to conclude and like it left me not having a romance at the end. Like I just chilled with Blonde Blazer on the car, but we just
same,
like talked and
same.
like I didn't have any I didn't really have a romance at the end anymore because Invisigal left and I didn't romance Blazer. And
That's
which was
why I
like it
said
still
earlier.
left me in like a sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I was just gonna say that's why I said earlier that I was glad that I kind of just went along with the organic story and followed it because
Yeah.
the way it leads you to that, yeah, it felt very satisfying.
Yeah, and
Wow.
like yeah, Delilah, like to your point, like it definitely made for a very like it was very emotional, it's very exciting. Like I definitely didn't expect that conclusion and I couldn't have seen it coming because it's not like I'm seeing like a progress bar of how my love interest is going with her or how my
Yeah.
mentorship is going with her. Or conversely, how my love interest is going with Blonde Blazer. Like it could have surprised me anyway at the end, and it definitely was shocking. I wasn't expecting her to suddenly kill Shroud and disappear and leave us all there just like that.
From a story perspective, I kind of like that more because it's just so dramatic. But from like a personal perspective, I'm glad I chose what I chose because that's some toxic ass shit. And like, I'm glad I didn't get into this like really toxic relationship. Although
Yeah.
I wonder, because
That's why
like,
we got Blonde Blazer for the rebound. That's what I've been
yeah,
saying,
that's why
you
you
know?
keep saying that. It makes complete sense now.
Yeah.
Um, I, so I think what kind of causes it then, because we all like, I didn't romance her, you guys did, right? And you
Hmm.
guys
But we
also,
didn't get to have a romance with her at the end.
right? And you guys all like, we all chose to like forgive her and let her go. The only difference is like I didn't cut her from the team, so I wonder if cutting her from the team is what pushes her to
Yeah,
villainy.
It might
that's
be,
what
yeah.
that's one of the things that I implied. Like it probably caused that to like her to go to the dark side, so to speak. Like it's probably other decisions too. Like I definitely could have chosen more things that were on Invisigal's side, and it would have prevented her from doing that. But like at the end of the day, like it's a conclusion crafted by my own choices, and I feel like it was in line with the choices I made, and it still wound up surprising me. So I wasn't disappointed in the end. I like I said, I really loved this game and loved the story that it told, and the fact
Yeah,
that there's so many different ways it can conclude, and they're all based on choices you make. I just you know, it's not anything new, but I do feel like it's kind of a perfection of that formula,
right.
especially since like we used to get so many Telltale games, and like this one nailed it in so many ways for me. Oh, the last decision to be made, um, Sonar or Coop, did you forgive them or did you send them to jail?
So this is one of my criticisms of the dispatch is that I didn't get to beat Coop in the dispatch section,
Oh,
and
okay.
so they locked me out of the option to forgive her. Had I had the option, I would have forgiven her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Jason for
forgave Sonar.
Sonar. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Very
Which again
cool.
is like
And then
it says Sonar will remember. So like it's a weird place to have it because at that point you really can't do anything else. So it's like it almost is flat out telling you there will be a sequel. Obviously, like there may not be a sequel, but like
Yeah, there's no guarantee, but like I assume, you know, if there is a sequel, it's going to carry on from where we are. It's also interesting to think about like, well, the Mecha Man suit's repaired. Robert doesn't really need to work for SDN anymore.
yeah, the man is Mecha again. Yeah,
Or at least not as a dispatcher, right? He can now be a hero. So like would a theoretical dispatch 2 feature
which
a
hey,
different
even more reason to romance Blonde Blazer. She's no longer my boss, and it's a copacetic relationship.
um yeah.
so this is the other piece that I go just now that we've like unpacked everything. I
Yeah.
didn't like that there was no reaction to phenomenon finding
Phenomenon.
out about me and Blazer being a thing. He had no reaction. He went from being depressed to being part of the team normal out of
He's an
nowhere.
alien
But he
Yeah.
was so depressed, like he was literally walking in front of traffic for the longest time, and
with the
so
melons.
I guess
Well, maybe that's only a problem for people that romance the wrong romance option, okay? Like maybe that's only a you issue, Delilah.
well, you know what? I wind up with my girl at the end while your girl is wreaking havoc, okay?
Yeah, well, at
Um,
least I have good taste in donuts, all right? Like
oh,
let's all
I think
chill
that was
over
more
there.
contentious than the who
That
we
was so much more contentious. I can't believe you two. Jesus. All right, we don't have to rehash that. Um I think that you know there's a couple writing like it's not like the writing is flawless, right? There's a couple corners that kind of never just got the writers kind of wrote themselves in and never really fully got resolved. Like Flambe never really like he has to know by now that Robert's Mecha Man by the end, but like because because said that I was just Robert, he shows up to the party late so he doesn't find out from a drunken chase. Like
Yeah,
there's never any confrontation or animosity about that.
right.
So it's like, well, there's no way he doesn't know, but when did he find out and why
Yeah,
did that never come back up? And like that's only because of the decisions I made, like they didn't have a failsafe in place for that as far as I could tell.
yeah.
Maybe there was a passing line during a dispatch shift that I just missed, but I don't think so.
I don't think so, no. And with Phenomenon, there was no indication of what happened between him and Blazer. I don't know if you guys found that out in your path, but it just there was no explanation. And I guess that it's not really important at the end of the day, but as someone who was like her new man, I kind of wanted to know what happened.
I think she just kind of says to us that like, that she decided like it wasn't right anymore or something along those lines. It was like a very just like my heart wasn't in it kind of breakup response, you know?
Okay. Yeah. I wonder
Um
if there was more like in if
Yeah,
you
like I
played
said,
differently.
Blonde Blazer largely disappeared outside of those early sections and like a few conversations for core choosing points.
yeah. Um and like I said, it's because they're heavily leaning into this mentorship thing with Robert, so Invisigal is just inherently going to take more time. But like, I do think for Blazer to be one of two romance options, yeah, maybe she could have had a little more involvement and engagement, um, outside of just like randomly showing up during a dispatch shift, being like, "Hey, time for training. Who's gonna learn how to fly or whatever," you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so we talked through all the episodes, talked through our choices, we talked through the gameplay. Do you guys feel as compelled as I do to do it all again and make all the opposite choices?
I am because I want to see what the other choices bring. I feel like there might be more story information because, like, I had no idea Invisigal could have been a villain, and that's actually pretty cool. So I would like to see that
Well,
play
sorry for
out.
spoiling that.
Yeah, no, I actually no, because like I purposely asked Matt to start playing it because I wanted to see how other people make decisions
Okay,
so that
yeah.
it was less me making the opposite decisions of what I chose. And I'm kind of interested now to like go down a rabbit hole and see like how other people made certain choices online. But yeah, I think this is definitely like highly replayable. Although the platinum seems kind of annoying because you have to like perfect hacking sequences and stuff, and I just don't care about that stuff in the game,
I
so I
mean,
probably won't
Yeah,
do that.
it's a pretty breezy game, and at least with the I think with the you can actually copy your save into a different. First of all, I love that the game has save slots and you can
Mhm.
copy your save into another save
yeah.
slot. So if you wanted to do that and just change like a decision or two without affecting your original save, like you can do that, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Um and I yeah, I mean
It's
I
like
really want to
a
go through this.
built-in save scum feature. Yeah,
Yeah, and
Mhm.
like I think the biggest thing, like I really want to replay so I can kind of make more informed decisions on like how I progress my heroes. I kind of like by the end definitely I only had Malevola like maxed out on knowledge,
Mhm.
and that kind of put me in some sticky situations with trying to send heroes to the right jobs when like a lot were coming up that required knowledge and she was the only one that I had maxed out. It definitely made it difficult to finish some missions and with success.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
like, yeah, I loved this game so much. I really want to do it all again.
Mhm.
It's just like rewatching a season of television too. And it's like something we didn't talk about is like the pacing and how each episode is just like about an hour, maybe a little more than an hour, which is
Yeah.
like pretty standard, like par for the course with a lot of like modern day television now. So it's like when I say like it feels like watching a show, like I really mean it. It feels like watching a show. It's paced that way,
yeah,
and I think it really just nails it in so many ways.
Yeah.
This formula really just crushed it for me.
yeah. When I
Yeah.
started, it was a Sunday afternoon. I started around like noon or one, and by the time I looked at my watch, I was like on the at the end of the fourth episode. Hours had passed. Very brisk pacing.
Yeah.
Um, and the episodes largely align with kind of the structure of the story in a very succinct way. So everything feels like it's moving on the right pace.
Yeah, like with the episode drops, the even numbered episodes, considering they did like a two at a time approach, like they definitely leave you with like meaningful cliffhangers,
Mhm.
on those episodes. And like I said, I wish I was playing this when it was coming out because I would have
Yeah, me too.
been
I was just gonna say that.
I would have been anticipating every fucking week, just like when are they coming? When are they out? Give them to me.
Yeah. And just being able to talk and like I think like for this kind of game it would have been cool to do like an episodic recording just to like get our like reactions for like the initial thing without having to talk around certain
Hey,
things.
I think I suggested it. I just want to throw
Yeah,
that out there. I'm pretty sure I suggested that.
I think because everything had been out already, it was kind of like,
Yeah, I know. And it was also the holidays. It's hard for us to get on every week to talk through something around like Christmas and New Year's and stuff like that. So it was kind of a difficult time
yeah.
to ask
But
that.
if ad hoc makes another game, I'll definitely if it's like this, I'll definitely be following it as it comes out.
Yeah.
We're gonna be making React videos now.
Well, I mean, on the note of ad hoc's next game, I mean, are we ready to move on to the final question? Wrap this episode up?
Yeah.
Hells yeah.
Um, so I mean, we know Ad Hoc is working on a Critical Role game. Do you guys have any interest in playing that? Not like I don't think any of us watch or engage with Critical Role, but just because it's made by this studio that made this game, like, do you think you're gonna pick that up and try that out just based on the studio making it, or are you more inclined to wait for?
I'm assuming it's like fantasy based.
Yeah, I the Critical Role, like they produce content surrounding playing D&D, so it's very
Yeah.
rooted in D&D. Um,
I mean, I liked Baldur's Gate 3 and that had D&D stuff, so I can see that working actually. And
okay.
because now
That's
I have
literally
a
D&D. That's the world of D&D.
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, sure. That sounds like a great marriage actually.
Okay. Yeah,
Choice-based things.
I think I could be willing, I could be down, in spite of, just not following that content, following that group. But
Yeah, I don't either.
I really liked what the studio did with this game, with this setting, and I think I I I just do Critical Role is like an anomaly because like it is like a separate IP, but like they literally came in and made sure this game could get developed. And it's not like it's some big like $1 million franchise. It's not like it's, Ad Hoc Studio presents Stranger Things the series or something. God forbid if that ever happens. It's not like they're falling into the same trapping as like Telltale did, with just getting all of these outside IP, these popular IP, and making a a series around them. So like I think with Critical Role, it's like it's a meaningful contractual obligation considering it helped Dispatch get out the door, but I also think it's one that could work better by just not being this mega franchise that's going to have a lot of eyes, a lot of attention, and a lot of scrutiny that comes with all that on it. So I think it's something that like while I'm not super engaged with it, like I would be willing to try it out. I just don't want it to cascade into another situation where the studio starts getting contracts for other outside IP. Like I think Dispatch was a very cool original idea, absolutely no outside franchise coming in to inform where it goes, and I think if they can keep rolling with like original content, like they can make franchises of their own, and
Yeah.
that's what I want to see
Yeah.
them do by furthering this, or maybe even making something else that's totally new. It would be great.
I
Yeah, it
would
was
hope
so
that
refreshing.
whatever they're doing for Critical Role is not it doesn't take place in Faerun in the actual canon D&D world. I would hope it's their own unique fantasy thing, and I would definitely be interested to
I
see slash play that.
I don't know the extent of the Critical Role campaign or campaigns, like where they take place, if it's all original writing or work from Matt Mercer, or if it is still within like rooted in the D&D world. I mean, I know they have their own original storylines and stuff. Like a lot of it is original work. I just don't know like world as far as world building goes or setting, like where it takes place. So
Yeah.
um, but I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm willing to look at Ad Hoc in the future with no matter
No,
what they
same.
make, I'll definitely be taking a look at it.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully, less '80s synthwave music and some more if it's fantasy, some more
Yeah,
classic fantasy music.
Well, yeah, I don't think they're gonna use synthwave in like a D&D setting, Jason.
Oh, you'd be surprised, yo. You'd be
I
surprised.
I mean, yeah, yeah, whatever. I mean, sure.
Yeah, I agree. It
Um,
was this game's a breath of fresh air, so
yeah.
I'm glad that it came out and that we all played it and talked about it.
Yeah, I'm very glad too. Like I said, I walked away from this game and I wasn't expecting it to become my 2025 game of the year, and it retroactively is,
Mm.
and I loved it. I really, really loved it.
I'd also really be
Um,
Yeah.
interested, just real quick, about the critical role thing. Just if they utilize similar gameplay mechanics, how that would apply to like a tabletop, like a party of characters. That is also
Mm.
super interesting, in addition to the storytelling mechanics from here. So yes, I would
yeah, and
definitely be interested to see what they got. Yeah.
yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, dispatch missions, but instead you're like dungeon crawling, and instead of the stat graphs, like maybe utilizing dice rolls and stuff like that, that would be yeah, definitely a thematic evolution of the gameplay. Would be interesting to see how they do it.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think it's time to wrap this up. Jason, Kwasnicky rating. What you giving it?
Give it a solid 8 out of 10. A solid 8
Ooh.
Twinkies out of 10 Twinkies.
Nice.
Yes. Nice. Very good. Very good. Um, if you liked this show, if you liked this episode of Root the Spoils, thank you so much for listening. If you listened on YouTube, again, thank you. Be sure to like the episode, leave us a comment, tell us who you romanced, tell us, what you liked or didn't like about the game or this episode. And be sure to subscribe to the channel, and share the show with your friends, family, anyone you think would enjoy it. Played Dispatch or one of our many games in our back catalog. um, just share the show. Share the good word of Reap the Spoils. If you listened on Apple Podcasts, thank you so much. Please rate and review the show. 5 stars preferred. Again, tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like. And Jason, what is the next thing we're covering?
Fallout Season 2.
You sound so excited.
Uh,
I
We're
am
going
so excited.
we're going from a video game that acts like a TV show to a TV show that is based on a video
Show that
game. Yeah,
acts like a video game.
we're
No,
gonna
that
we're gonna be
acts like a
talking.
video game, yeah.
We're gonna be talking about, season two, out now. I think all of it's out
yeah,
now on.
finales. I'm gonna watch it after we
Oh,
record.
okay. There we go. I haven't watched any of it yet. I just haven't gotten around to it. So,
Mm.
yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna we're gonna talk about.
there hasn't been much buzz about it. Nobody's really been talking because it's all the other shit that's been coming out.
I mean, a lot of my friends have been like pestering me about watching it, and I just like, yeah, I didn't. We'll talk about it when we do the episode on it. But yeah, if you want to
Yep.
listen to the next episode, Fallout Season 2, available on Amazon Prime Video. Go watch that. Tune in next time, and as always, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.